comment, and subscribe.
The Justice League of America, the protectors of a disproportionate amount of the world's wealth. Led by Juperman.
$30? What do you need $20 for?
Spider Jew.
My goyim senses are tingling. My daughter.
Shabbat Man.
I'm here to break you out, Jeffrey, to the Shabbat Mobile.
It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's a well-balanced Roth IRA. Aqua Jew. Hypothetically speaking, of course. What if you and all your fish friends hypothetically swam into the Mariana Trench for me to search for some shekels? And the Jew Lantern. So, what do you do again?
Well, I can recommend diversified investment products like stocks or index funds to match your risk tolerance and manage your portfolio over time.
I'm not gonna say what kind of superhero it was. It was a Jewish superhero. What will they make Trump do next? Tune in next time on an all-new episode of The Justice League. Spooky dookie.
People claim Israelis celebrate Lag BaOmer by throwing kittens and puppies in bonfires. Is there any truth to this? No, that's the stupidest crap I ever heard in my entire life. What kind of nonsense? What in the hell? That is just what? What in the world? What? No, that is not a thing. That is not even remotely close to a thing, actually. By the way, go walk around Jerusalem. All you will see is wild kittens everywhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, hope you're having a wonderful evening tonight. I apologize for being like almost 20 minutes late after I already put the stream for 30 minutes later, but I was out on the range all day. Been a very busy man because I still got to practice, I still got to film, I still got to do all the other fun stuff, and I have a match tomorrow. I have a match on July 4th. It's a rifle match. Semi-local. I got to drive a little bit for it, so I needed to make sure that I was tuned up, that the gun was tuned up and zeroed and just locked in. Okay, so I was out on the range, didn't get back till about 7 o'clock, so I was a little bit behind today on the stream. Also, another reason why I am a little bit behind is we're gonna have streamception. Sorry, excuse me. Is that I am live for the first time on Kick. Now, it's quite funny because the guy who told me to stream on Kick, I think he stole my username. So the focus trip in chat over on Kick is not the real focus trip. I am focus trip 2. Unfortunately, because that guy stole my channel before I could even go over there. So, oh well, it is quite funny. And yeah, we have mega streamception right now. That actually looks trippy. Looks good. Yeah, like looking at 1,000 different versions of yourselves, just slightly delayed. And let me tell you something. I know something about being slightly delayed, okay? But I dropped the link in the Rumble. and in the YouTube chat to go check out the Kick channel if so interested. I know like 4 people said I should stream over there. So again, when the inevitable YouTube ban hammer does come, and it will come, all right? Whether it's this year, next administration, who knows? But it will eventually come for all of us. It's good to diversify the platforms that we are on. So I hope everybody is having a good evening so far. We're going to start off with a nice, wholesome, heartwarming story, okay? Maybe not exactly what we want to hear, but it's a good one, okay? So here we have Dugan Ashley. We have his defense fund here, but this is kind of just the backdrop for the actual story that we are going to talk about. And that is because today I received a very... Is the audio still over? Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry. Echo, you boomer. Lol, that's so funny. I had the tab muted. So it shouldn't have been coming through to you. Either way. Oh well. C'est la vie. Fixed. Yeah, it's fine. Anyways, we have a heartwarming, cool, awesome story for you guys. Not just about, obviously, Dugan and his current troubles, but in spite of that, we have some great humans stepping up and doing what needs to be done. So I received this email today before stream started saying, "Hey, John, I just wanted to ask a favor of you. I bought Dugan's AR, one of the ARs that was on the Gunbroker auction that some of you guys balled out very hard to acquire a lot of these items and provide finances for the family and for the trial that is upcoming. So, and I'm hoping you could somehow inform Dugan himself or his wife that should he win his trial and regain his rights, I will be more than happy to return his rifle back to him free of charge." So he bought it for a lot of money. He won the auction, and he is offering to, after he has bought it and won it for that amount of money, to simply return it free of charge, whether or not, well, if Dugan wins his trial, of course. I don't think this is worth even wasting a second of his limited phone time, nor do I think it's worth bothering his wife with the current moment, but I can trust you can find a way of bringing it up in an appropriate manner. I am also offering, this is the important second part, that should he sadly lose this BS trial, I will keep his rifle and return it to his kids when they become of legal age. I'm a firm believer that things like this should be passed down from parent to child, and should they desire it, I would gladly give them back a memento of their father. I promise to keep this rifle in good working order and refrain from any serious modifications. So, very, very based man stepping up, not only financially supporting them, but also offering to not only give it back to Dugan, should he win, but should he not win, to give it back to his children in a very, very generous gesture. So for that, we appreciate that. Very, very kind of him. Base. That's right. Base for this guy in the chat. He does want to remain anonymous. That was the only thing that he wanted me to say. He did send me a picture of the rifle. And I'm just very glad that good people like him do exist and are here to help and to support the people in need. Very white of him. Very true. All right. So let's go ahead and move on from this to the gun news. I know, the boring gun news of the week, or of the day, really, because there's a lot of this. UO Arms, or UO Arms, however you pronounce that or say that, they are once again teasing another civilian MP7 option. Now, I'm not sure if anyone should actually be interested in these, because one, HK has already announced that they're doing an SP7 for the US market. Some people are still waiting for them to arrive. We already know the price tag. It's 2,500 credits, which is a lot of credits, okay? Undeniably, 2,500 credits is a lot of credits. Not that much for an HK, though. Not that much for some people's, like, dream Unobtainium, you know, what's the game that just slipped my mind? Everybody's going to make fun of me for it now because I forgot the name of it. You know the game, Half-Life 2, that's the one, okay? Their Half-Life 2 Dream Gun. Now, UO Arms is not HK. They're also not Tommy Built, because Tommy Built had his MP7 clone that barely worked, didn't work, attempted to work, and was also quite expensive. So now, given the fact that we know that the SP7 from HK is going to be 2,500 credits, The NT7 from UO Arms is reportedly 3,700 credits. So it's even more expensive than the real thing. And there's a lot of arguments that the real thing isn't a very good platform to begin with. Lots of broken bolts, lots of broken, plastic components, whether it's charging handles or other little things going wrong with them. So I understand that people like the MP7 for nostalgic reasons or for video game reasons or for vibe reasons. But the biggest question is like, is the real thing worth the asking price? And is a knockoff worth 50% more than that? So this is the timeless design revitalized, introducing the NT7 from UO Arms, crafted for individuals who seek exceptional performance and unmatched quality. The NT7 chambered in 4.6x30. Now 4.6x30 is also not unobtainium, but it's closer to a 1 credit per round. And 1 credit per round puts it in some pretty elite tiers as far as ammunition goes. So it's harder to find, it's more expensive, and it's really ineffective for what it is. Like the whole point of it is that you get a lot of ammo capacity with almost no recoil in a very, 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 very small package. The MP7 kind of does all of those things, right? So it's 4 pounds, it's a little bulky, 15 inches long. Now they claim the rate of fire at 950 rounds per minute. And I saw some people theorizing that it was going to be a factory FRT gun, which would be novel and interesting, right? If you're going to bring an MP7 like to market, it would be kind of interesting if it were factory FRT, so you don't have to modify it after the fact, right? They design their own FRT that works with their magazines, their bolts, yada, 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 so on and so forth, and actually hopefully works well enough to be reliable. So that's like, if that was true, I just see that speculated. If that were true, that is at least another interesting point to it. Anyways, yeah, so magazine capacity, they go on, so on and so forth, but it is just, you can sign up for the wait list. These are not actually available for sale. Keep in mind that these have been teased or threatened for a long time now. And I fall susceptible to the vibes-based argument because it does look cool. It does do the things. I'm not even a PDW brassback style guy. For the most part, I think they have their application. But for that, I think the MP7 is kind of neat. Now, ironically, I wish that PSA would actually have made the X9, which is just this, but in 9mm. Right? 9mm is ubiquitous. It's cheap. It does the subgun things. You only need like a 4-inch barrel on it, so you can make a 4-inch, 5-inch, 6-inch barrel, whatever it is. Have your QD suppressor, and just give me a little package like this with, stick mags, whether it's a B&T or some other stick magazine, and put it in the grip and call it a day, and PDW nerds will go wild for it. However, they have completely failed on tube blowback 9mm, which somehow has eluded the market thus far, unless you own like a TP9, which is also not particularly good and doesn't play well with suppressors and other silly things like that. Now, if you go to the comments on here, of course, Mr. Guns and Gear, rather erect. Why would you make it in 4.6? Everybody's asking for it in 5.7. I don't really care whether it's in 5.7 or 4.6 because I think they're both kind of meme rounds. I understand that 5.7 is quite a bit cheaper and easier to find, but if you're willing to drop $3,000 on or 4,000 credits on a novelty, which is what the NT7, as they're calling it, would be, then I don't really think you care too much about the raw dollar amount of the thing, right? Again, you're not using it for some sort of real world application. You're not a cool guy. You're not Secret Service. You're not, VIP protection units. You're just a nerd online who wants to LARP. And that's totally fine. If you're willing to drop 4,000 credits on a LARP, I don't think you care about its, terminal effects on 3A body armor at 100 yards or through glass or a car door or whatever else it might be, right? RC says there are like 2 4.6 ammo options. Again, I think this is one of those things where if you're interested in it, it probably only comes out on 4th of July, right? It's like, oh yeah, I bought a couple boxes of 4.6 for like 100 credits. And then you go outside and you dump a couple, maximum semi-auto style. And you're like, oh, wasn't that fun? Wasn't that fun? Honey, bro, kids, wasn't that a good time? It's like a 4th of July gun. It's a communal gun that you like show off to your friends. You don't actually use the thing. So for that purpose, I mean, I'm not going to fault them for trying to bring it out, but it is just kind of silly when, again, we already have the MP7, or sorry, the SP7 announced. And this is the H&K SP7 that, again, has already been announced. It's coming in this configuration. It's going to be semi-auto with this barrel length, yada, 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 pick rail in the back. And it's going to be 25 credits, 2,500 credits, which is, again, significantly cheaper than the Tommy built or the UO arms. That's true. Dude, so true, Focus Trip. I'm so annoyed that now I'm going to have to battle the real Focus Trip. Now, speaking of terrible guns that only exist off of vibes, Magpul themselves is starting to ACR post. On Wednesday, we had the one guy claiming that the ACR was coming back. And I was thinking, no, that's entirely nonsense. There's no way that Bushmaster is going to release the ACR yet again to fail in the market yet again. It would be very funny, very, very funny if they did bring it back just for it to fail a third time, right? And maybe they will in 2027. But now Magpul is straight up posting ACR posting on main. Okay, this looks like it was a cover in 2012, like some sort of magazine cover, Recoil Magazine 2012. This could be a cover shot right there. And again, the ACR, it's got vibes. Okay, I'm not a vibes-based gun owner, but the only vibes-based gun that I've ever bought and invested in was 4 separate ACRs. That was a terrible idea. Terrible, terrible idea. I actually, because of the time that I bought them in back in the day, 10 years ago now, 8 years ago now, I actually was able to sell them for quite a bit more than I bought them for. So I did actually turn my LARP, turn my vibes-based buying into, more dollars, which is pretty good. So is the Magpul ACR actually coming back, or are they just teasing us on main? Not really sure. But either way, Magpul posting classic ACR pictures, it's got to be a good day. Now, moving on from there, people who aren't having a good day, that being Exigent Defense. Now, Exigent Defense, they're one of those guys that they're one of the new suppressor manufacturers, and damn, if I can't be bothered to keep up with all of the other nonsense, suppressor manufacturers, quote unquote, where they're all making like the exact same thing, like, and I have to pretend to care and keep up with all this stuff, right? It's so obnoxious. Yeah, I get it. You make a 3D printed suppressor. It's very cool. Is it low back pressure? Well, that's crazy, dog. It utilizes the CAT surge bypass without calling it the surge bypass. That's crazy, dude. Anyway, so this is from Otter Creek saying, at Exigent Defense, if I get another call or text from a dealer that you're going around talking shit to, I'm going to tell everyone about how you called the ATF on me to try and get me in trouble, and the state director straight up dimed you out by name. As long as you quit, though, that could be our little secret. So now Otter Creek and Exigent Defense, they're going back and forth in a little Instagram story snap, which is, again, it's the most gay, retarded thing imaginable for, quote unquote, the gun industry in 2026. But because we have all of these meme suppressor companies, even if they make a good product, like, let's be real, I mean, a lot of the cans are not identical. Okay, they're slightly different, but they all utilize similar architecture and similar performance, and they're all kind of different shades of gray as far as I'm concerned. But because you have a lot of these people in the industry that are just very silly, you're going to get people upset. Now, Otterdump, I think the reason that Exigent is upset is because they cut suppressors in half. And so they're like, hey, ATF man, they're ratting out like, hey, did you know he's destroying suppressors? And is he announcing that those are destroyed, trying to get your competition in trouble? Really gay of any suppressor manufacturer to attempt to get your competition in trouble with the ATF. I'm just going to say that's retarded right there. Now, maybe you could go after them for something like corporate espionage or for patent infringement if you guys owned any of the patents to begin with, right? Which most of you guys don't. Most of you guys are just copy and pasting and doing whatever you think you can get away with. But yeah, don't do that. Don't sue your competitors unless there's some major, breach of, moral claims or something like that, or if they're like legitimately stealing something from you. But just for cutting up your product and exposing it, Very gay. It's very gay, Exigent Defense. Now, Pew Science, Juice Science, Jay, whatever his name is, also chimed in on the situation, saying we've received calls from dealers across the country that he tells all kind of tall tales about the Pew Science lab. Large dealers. Hope he doesn't call the ATF on those dealers too. Man, protect your neck. Silencer companies in 2026 are wild. I mean, we know they disparage people, but to call the ATF, really? Again, if true, if Exigent Defense did actually call the ATF on OtterDump, like that would be retarded. Very, very dumb. And I hope that that backfires on you. If somebody would have proof of that, of course. All alleged. Now, as far as I have seen, Exigent Defense has not responded, but let me check their story just in case. There it is. So let's see, anything of interest here. The Shark, that's so funny. The first thing I see on their story, Shark Coast Tactical, which I always forget to say, Shark Toast Tactical. The Mark 1 tubes, Shark Toast Tactical again, and just a bunch of nothing. So as far as I'm aware, they have not responded to anything. They're just posting random flop to their story and, you know, doing the whole like July 4th sales, stuff like that, which also GT's on their main page, which is funny. Anyways, July 4th is coming up. Hope you guys have a great Independence Day. Hope you guys return next week with all of your fingers as well. Now, this leads us nicely into the even more suppressor drama, because we have more retarded stuff going on the interwebs. Now, somebody decided to, or actually OtterDump, of course, decided to cut open a couple of suppressors without even telling people what they are. I believe the one on the left here, this is the Rody 6, and the one on the right here is the Exigent Fire Team, which is probably what made Exigent Defense so mad, is that they're cutting up and exposing, what is exactly inside of their suppressors. And it might shock you to learn that both of these actually look very, very similar to some other architectures on the market, almost like they're all cutting up their competitors' suppressors and kind of copy and pasting. It's like, hey, change, you can copy my homework, but change it up a little bit so that the teacher can't tell that it's mine. And the one that they're both aping, allegedly, hypothetically, is the cat white bread. Now, this is an early sample cat white bread cutaway that is, theoretically real, not entirely sure. But this is, again, the same surge bypass that we see in the Exigent Defense and the Rody 6 over here on the left. Now, the Rody 6 does it in a little bit different way. It basically has a dual surge bypass, which is on the sides. So the way that works is it spins the exterior air all the way around. So it spirals around all the way the exterior of the tube until it exits out the front, of course. So these are all like some version of forward venting technology that reduces back pressure, theoretically can make it sound a little better, yada, yada, yada. So this is going to be fun. Looks like folks don't need to ask their laboratory to test these silencers anymore. This is, again, Pew Science, Juice Science. Looks like folks don't need to ask our laboratory to test these silencers anymore. We've already tested cat silencers, and this is Jay just saying, like, hey, guys, these are all just cat cans. Which, I mean, again, it's fine. It's like the suppressor question is like, how can we spin air in an efficient manner to slow it down without gassing people out or making it super loud? And that's what the cat white bread does. Is it's not particularly fantastic at anything, but it does a really good job of reducing back pressure and not being loud. And of course, their newer cans have been a little bit better yet in all of the other variables. So again, the Rody 6 on the left, the Exigent on the right, they're basically doing the exact same thing. I mean, the Exigent is basically a copy and paste, and the Rody uses a dual bypass system where they have essentially two walls bypassing on the first and second baffle. It's like interesting. Well, I mean, maybe it's interesting to you. I'm not sure. All right. So, the lawyer is going to be busy. So maybe I'm missing something, but is one copying the other, or is someone just showing that? Kind of looks like they're both copying a third company, and that would be Cat. And again, if you scroll down, somebody will post the original Cat surge bypass, allegedly, right? This is allegedly the Cat surge bypass, which did it first. And so Exigent and the Rody 6 on the left are copying their design, right? So the one on the right, Exigent Fireteam 556, left is a Rhodey 6K, which I think I'm supposed to be getting a Rhodey 6K at some point. So it'll be like, it's a shorter, fatter white bread, which is fine. The white bread's a good can. I don't have any problems with the white bread other than the fact that it's kind of a pig. I wish you could get a similar level of performance, like 3 or 4 ounces lighter, maybe a half pound lighter, but I have the RDM version, which is even heavier, of course. So that is the suppressor drama of the week. I imagine it will get even gayer and lamer as time goes on because these companies are new to the market and professional in quotation marks. Now, speaking of something a little bit more interesting, at least for me personally, is this is an older post, but it's getting recirculated again on the Geisley Hycar contract. Now, this originally got posted before the Hycar contract was announced, and Sons of Liberty Gunworks, Geisley, Daniel Defense, a bunch of these other guys are going for the Hycar contract, which is going to be very high pressure ammunition. It's essentially like Hot 5.56, right? So maybe the PXT barrels will come into play, the special bolts will come into play, the special receivers, all of that sort of fun stuff is going to be part of the Hycar contract, and this is what leaked earlier of Geisley's prototype. Also, I should mention that a very, very kind gentleman has reached out to me and is sending me one of the GFR 6 ARC upper receivers, which I am very excited to play around with. So it has the phase array gas system, it has the special barrel bolt extension, the special upper receiver, all of the other fun stuff. So I will actually have a GFR 6 ARC in hand very soon to play around with. So this is the Hycar Geisley proposal GFR X 5.56. So the phased array gas system, which if you're not familiar with the phased array gas system, is essentially instead of having a singular gas port on the barrel, they have 3 smaller gas ports symmetrically around the barrel that are very small that feed into a channel around the gas block that then feeds gas back into the system. Why do they do that? Well, supposedly the phased array has a softer recoil impulse because it dumps the gas in a different manner. I don't really know the mechanics of it. But another supposed advantage, again, supposedly, I don't take any of this stuff at face value. Why would I? Supposedly, another advantage is as the bullet is passing the phased array gas system, instead of deforming the bullet asymmetrically, right? If you have one gas port and as that bullet is twisting past the gas port, you're going to get a little bit of deformation as it's passing the gas port, and it's only going to be on one part of the bullet as it's twisting around. But if you have symmetrical gas ports, 3 of them, 3 small gas ports, it's going to deform the bullet symmetrically as it's going down the tube. Allegedly, that helps with accuracy and consistency. Does it actually matter? I mean, we're at a point where we can get gas guns pretty damn close to 1 MOA 10-shot groups consistently. So at some point, like, we're just going to say, like, that's good enough, right? Like today, I was taking that out. I put 5 rounds at 150 yards in about an inch. And I'm like, that's pretty good. Do I need anything better than that? Not really. Like, it could theoretically be better, but not for what I'm doing. Not for maybe taking it out to 500 or 600 yards. Like, who cares, right? So, I mean, at some point, you are just chasing diminishing returns and you're making things very, very expensive. Now, it could also be because they're comboing with this with the Hycar super high pressure 5.56 ammo that they actually need it for that program. It's possible. You never know. So phased array gas system, stable operation at low speed, delayed mass weight bolt carrier. I have no idea what that means. Low recoil, 600 rounds per minute, low speed, full auto. Again, I'm not sure if that's some sort of surefire suppressed BCG where there's another delay mechanism within the carrier itself, essentially like the CAC dead blow carrier, where there's a secondary weight within the carrier itself that further slows down the rate of fire. Could be possible. Says similar to the surefire OBC/AROC. Extend the bolt and barrel extension, so you actually have more barrel and bolt to contain the Hycar, which is going to be again 80,000 psi 5.56. So a very high pressure round using the peak alloy case technology, I would guess. And you can see a little bit more details here on the actual Reddit post that was posted again a while ago, but this was actually posted before the full HICAR contract was announced. So phased array gas, different barrel material, which again was announced after this post. Rate reducing BCG with longer bolt to accommodate the high pressure ammo and longer buffer tube. So these are probably all going to come with an A5, which I don't generally like the A5 on normal 5.56 rifles. Like, it's almost never needed. Like a standard spring and an H2 buffer on a properly gassed rifle just works great. Feels fantastic, especially like the Super 42 or any other system like that. So this was, again, 6 months ago. I'm actually going to be getting not the GFR X, but the GFR in 6 ARC very soon. That will be very cool. And as far as the barrel material goes on it, again, because allegedly Sons of Liberty Gunworks bought up the entire supply of Armad, their barrel steel. So they're kind of keeping that in check to see how much do they have to make contracts with, how much can they actually release to civilians, which is why when they announced it, they said it would have 3 versions. So far, it only has 2, with an Armad version coming later this year, allegedly, possibly, theoretically, with a $1,100 price delta, meaning that a 2,900 credit unit goes to 4,000 credits, which is absolutely insane. Now, as far as Geisley's alternative, Geisley already has a HICAR capable bolt, that being their stress-proof Carpenter 158 Plus, which they already partner with Carpenter on to make specifically for them. So in this article released just a couple months ago, which we also covered, Geisley has already partnered with Carpenter, not only for the bolts, but now for the barrels as well, with the new proprietary formula, which is going to be GNB 200. That is going to be their their barrel material going forward for the high pressure load. So it looks like, guys, high pressure is the thing. It's going to be high pressure 5.56. It's going to be high pressure 6 ARC. It's going to be high pressure 6.8 by 51. Either way you look at it, it's going to be high pressure, and other calibers in there, I'm sure, as well. So everybody is going to be looking at 4150, pretty good. Not good enough for 80,000 PSI with the barrel life that we want, right? If we want our barrels to last more than a couple thousand rounds, we're going to be looking at proprietary barrel materials, bolt materials, coatings, all of the fun stuff, right? And Geisley's choice is to partner with Carpenter, who they're already partnered with for their bolts for the barrel material as well. And that is, again, GNB 200, which is supposedly better wear characteristics, harder, longer lasting, so on and so forth. Again, all gun ads eventually just sound like a HIMS ad when you talk about them for long enough. All right. You wish you were on you wish you were on high pressure? I guess breakfast. All right. Sorry, one second real fast. How do we do this? Okay, perfect. Anyways, all right. Moving on from there to the last bit of industry drama that we have for the week before we get into a little bit of rage bait. We're going to start off slow. We're going to ease into rage bait, but I put him on the thumbnail because we got to talk about him. We got to talk about Sons of Liberty Gunworks. It's going to be great. So we have the Fort Knox podcast, which is this guy right here. Now, this guy doesn't like me. I've never talked about him, no, I've never talked about him, I don't think. He's mentioned me before because he didn't like one of my videos that I made on a complete system. I want to say the title was like, Your Gucci Rifle Sucks. And it talks about how, putting on an LPVO with a red dot, with a thermal, with a light, with a lamb, with a suppressor, with all of this stuff on it, kind of makes the gun suck to shoot, which it does, right? When you take a regular AR-15, like a 14.5 or an 11.5, and you throw on, LPVO, top red dot, forward mounted thermal, lamb, light, suppressor, bipod. It's like, well, this is now a 14-pound rifle. And I was like, you do all of this stuff to your rifle. Yeah, now it's worth 10 grand, but now it sucks to actually use in any real meaningful context. Now, he took issue with that because he seems to be a guy that just spends a lot of money, which is good. It's good that he spends money on stuff and supports the industry because it kind of it has a good effect of you spend so much money on high dollar items that you're kind of what's the word I'm looking for? You're inundated with them, so they're no longer interesting, right? So for maybe a normal reviewer, if you got like a 3,000 credit rifle, you're like, oh gosh, that's so cool, that's so crazy. It's like it's so high end, it's so great. But this guy who spends a lot of money on everything and just shows off, like I think that's most of his appeal, honestly, is he's rather blunt and he just shows off like really, really, really expensive crap like all the time. Like I think one of his last videos was a KS3 or something like that. So anyway, so he shows off like insanely expensive stuff. Now, one of the benefits of that is when like a Mark 1 comes along, the Sons of Liberty Gunworks Mark 1 comes along, you don't really care about it because it's just another, quote unquote high end rifle that you get. It's like, who cares, right? It's not special to him because he has this, repertoire of an insane amount of expensive gear. Now, the issue that he took with me specifically, I mean, get in line, bro. Am I right at this point? But the issue he took with me is like, oh, you think a 14-pound rifle is too heavy? I mean, I think the guy's like a power lifter, so I'm not going to call him fat. Like I think he is actually like a big, strong guy, which I don't have any sort of problem with. But most of his use case seems to be putting the guns on tripods, which is like, yeah, I guess a 14-pound gun doesn't matter if you put it on a tripod, bro. Like if he uses it for hog hunting or he uses it for cranking that hog or whatever else it might be with his bros, like I get it, bro. If you like it, you use it. That's your fun. It's your hobby. Like go after it, bro. But for the average guy, a 14-pound rifle, probably a little silly. Okay, that's all I'm saying, big dog. All right, guy. Anyways, so he puts out this video, and what's interesting about it is he gets a Mark 1. He's a little negative about it. He calls out Reddit for being retards, just based, just objectively true, of course. But Sons of Liberty Gunworks, you'll notice here on the right, comments on it. Dude, call me. Let's talk before you change anything. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And then he gives out his phone number just on it, which is really funny, right? So he gives out his public phone number, which apparently he does like as a thing. I don't know why you would do that. It seems really stupid. I'm sure it's like his second or third phone. Like, let's be real. But still, just giving out your phone number rather than DMing the guy seems dumb. Seems like you're just asking for trouble. And I'm not recommending anyone go in there and send him funny messages. But I'm saying that he does give it out publicly. And if you wanted to, you could do that. I don't recommend it, but against my wishes, one could, of course. But it does seem a little like desperate. It does seem a little strange. It's like he makes a little Instagram clip, basically, which is not very negative. It says basically nothing in it. Most of his videos say basically nothing in it. Most of his videos are essentially, here's expensive item. Isn't that cool? Or I don't really like it. It's like he has like super expensive, flashy stuff with no like substance, like no depth, nothing, no real information, nothing useful. I don't think he's particularly good at anything he does. Like I don't think he's a good he's not a competition shooter. He's not a good rifle shooter. He's not a good pistol shooter. It's like he just has expensive stuff, and that is the draws. Like it's like Andrew Tate with a fancy car. Is like, is he actually a good driver? No, but it's just the fancy, flashy material thing, which is really gay and retarded. Okay, Reddit, totally gay, totally retarded. Being like materialistically faggy, like also really gay, right? Super, super gay. Anyways, we'll let this play, or for as long as I can until I have to switch it off, of course, because he is going to handle the
gun yesterday.
Uh-oh. Is my mic muted? Give me 1 second, guys. Entertain yourselves. My bad. Okay, should be up now.
So I'm going to be about a month or 2 months behind. I know there was a shit ton of drama that existed with this fucking thing. And my version of my review of this is definitely going to upset some people. Newer information has come out about it.
Sorry, I got to make it real small. I don't want to get zooked here.
And everyone's already fucking cranky. So the Reddit dorks, all the Instagram dorks are definitely going to be butthurt about it. So here it is. Sons of Liberty Gunworks, Mark 1. Upset that I had to buy it as a pistol. Well, let's see.
Do they not offer an SBR version of it? Do they not offer an SBR version of it? Let me check. Because I know Geisley offers an SBR version of all their rifles. Does Geisley not? Mark 1 car? No, they definitely do. What are you talking about? Yeah, you just click on SBR, you dork. I'm on their website right now. You just click the SBR dropdown, you dork. Why are you upset that you had to buy it as a pistol? Or maybe they were out of stock. I don't know. But no, you can definitely just buy it as an SBR.
No matter. It's not going to be a pistol for much fucking longer. I'm about to fix this thing. I'll post photos over on Fort Knox Podcast, which is the Instagram. And then eventually I will change out this muzzle device because I absolutely despise Huxworks. Everyone fucking knows that.
Paste. Huxworks sucks for their muzzle devices. If you're using a Flow 556K or a Black Magic or whatever else it might be, I get it, okay? It's only good in conjunction with that can. Outside of that, it's a terrible suppressor host. It's a terrible muzzle device. Get rid of them instantaneously. I am so glad that I cut off the pin and weld on the Mod 1A and put on just a generic Plan B device. Way simpler, way lighter, way cheaper, and also shorter as well. Fantastic.
Out the gate, rail feels good. Don't know if it's going to change anything. Some of the stuff on this gun is rad. Basic lower is what it is. Not even going to shoot this fucker.
See, that's the problem that I have with most of these guys' videos is there's literally no interesting information or like takes in it at all. It's just skin deep, if even skin deep. It's mega superficial, right? It's just like, oh, this is nice. This is cool. I like this. I don't like this. Why though? And again, this is just a first impressions type thing, but this is most of the content. Like it's very superficial.
Fucking lower. Literally only care about shooting the fucking upper. Bought a new gun yesterday, so I'm going to be about a month.
So he is going to be replacing the muzzle device. Totally get it. Muzzle devices suck from Huxworks. And he's going to be replacing the lower. Now, isn't that wacky? That's weird, right? Because, I mean, if you're buying a 3,000 credit rifle and immediately getting rid of the lower, that's a really expensive upper receiver, right? I mean, just like a value context. I know this guy doesn't care about value, but I'm just saying, okay? Also, it's funny because Mike, who probably one of the reasons why he's commenting here is he's like, no, I developed the Mark 1 as a system, right? As we covered in his video on Wednesday. It's a system. It's a total package. It's designed within these parameters. And part of those parameters for him are going to be the, A5 H2 buffer that's in there with their spring. And I guess it works well with their controls, even though, again, it is just a basic lower. It's a pretty, like, the magwell's like okay on it. The trigger's like okay on it, but I would also get rid of it. Like when I shot it with one of my other lowers, I had a much better time with it. So, yeah, system. So anyways, and then Mike, after this very mild critique, like, as much as I'm like ambivalent towards Fort Knox's content, if you can even call it that, as ambivalent as I am towards it, Mike seems to take it a lot more personally, right? So just the thought of him swapping out the muzzle device and the lower receiver is enough for him to be like, dude, ... Call me. Let's talk before you change anything. And if you have to answer, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And then he gives out his phone number there. Which again is like, it's kind of a weird thing to do. It's a little like uncertain of yourself. Maybe that's not the right word. It's a little unconfident, you know? Yeah, no, John, he posts, apparently this is something that he does, but he does post like his phone number around, which again is probably his secondary or third phone. But I just gave him his phone number publicly. And again, you can message him, things, complaints, funny memes, whatever it might be. I don't recommend it, but you could do that. It's just, and of course, everybody's kind of clowning on him. I take a Super Duty or a over a Sons of Liberty Gunworks. True. Battle proven. So true. What's the drama? No drama really. You seem generally unpleasant. That's funny. that is kind of funny. All right. Anyways, so sorry. Koopa Troopa says changing the flash hider makes sense, but the lower, why? Well, you have to see that this phenotype here, the Corey guy, I think that's his name. They don't. how do I say this? They'll put it on a lower that has stickers and an FRT, okay? Because that's what's cool. Is if your lower has stickers and an FRT, that's what's actually cool. So if the Sons of Liberty Gunworks lower doesn't have an FRT or stickers on it, like I've got to have my Gunko Pop. So I'm gonna put a riser on it because again, whatever, dude. I'm gonna put like a light and laser on it to look cool and to flex, and I'm gonna put it on my lower with an FRT, and I'm gonna have my stickers on it, and it's gonna be so cool. It's gonna be so rad, right? Isn't that fun? Isn't that cool? John, you should maybe call Big Mike and just talk it out. I've asked him to come on my show and he didn't. I've met him in person. He seems like a nice enough fellow. I'm sure we'd have a fun time hanging out at some proverbial dinner somewhere. But again, I'm just not really that interested anymore. It's way more fun for me personally just to do it this way. Like, isn't it? Anyways, so call him. No, I'm not going to do that. Stickers add FPS. That's true. It's true. Call with mommy voice filter. Call him right now live. Dude, how funny would that be? Should I do it? Should I call him live right now? Oh, dude, that would be so funny. Ask him on a mandate. We could do that. I'm going to call this number right now. 210-400. Nobody else call. Leave the line open. Hey, Mike, how's it going? Good. This is John, Focus Trip. How are you doing? Oh, heck yeah. Well, sorry, I don't mean to catch you at a bad moment. We were actually just going over that the Fort Knox podcast clip, and you posted your phone number in there. And I was like, it would be really funny just to kind of call and see if he picks up. Do you have a second phone? Or do you actually just give out your real phone number? Really?
Gunsight and whatever for 10 years, dude.
That's wild. So anyways, do you have a moment to talk, or are you busy? Because I don't want to take time away from your family on the weekend.
No. What's up, man?
Well, I was asking, so what about this Fort Knox podcast clip that he put up about switching the muzzle device and lower? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the rifle was a gas for a flow-through can. And then the reciprocating mass spread out over more wire. Like the beauty of the A5 system, that's how the gun was developed. And you have to remember, if you're building an OTB rifle and you're building it for the next generation of suppressors, the suppressor, like its legacy can, is not going to assist in driving the weapon. Like if you had a traditional suppressor with like baffles, that mimics dwell, and it'll drive the gun through adversity. But if you have a rifle, if you have a suppressor that has flow, then it's no longer to be increasing carrier speed. So you have to gas the gun appropriately for the suppressor it's going to use.
No, I 100% agree with you on that. So I think my disagreement there is not necessarily with the way that you designed it, but maybe in the way that the marketing and the way people talk about it is not super clear. Like, so there's a lot of difference with.
I think that from most people's feedback, it's not just like taking their word for it. If you look at, you actually look at drills against shot timers, the rifle's a really easy rifle to shoot well whenever it's paired with a flow can. I think you shot one at the range day in Vegas with the Black Magic can.
So I shot it with the Black Magic, the Flow, and then the MFMD thingamajig.
And you're saying it didn't have a different shootability to it?
Well, so in my testing, so I tried it out originally with nothing, then with a high back pressure can, then with the white bread. But my point was going to be that even if you release this out to like the wider public, they're going to put on whatever can that they have, right? So like,
sort of.
Well, I mean,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, people buy the gun. It's their gun. They can do whatever they want to with it. And like, there's millions of Baffle Stat cans out there. I do know that, like, from what we're seeing from our own kind of market research, and the reason why the rifle ships with a Hux device installed like that is because at that level, when people are buying guns like that, they're buying suppressors too. These aren't super price sensitive buyers for the most part.
Well, right, but even like the Fort Knox podcast guy, who is a crazy in terms of what he buys, like just the raw dollar amount, like he's swapping that out immediately, right? That's the first thing he does before he even shoots it.
I'd be curious what he puts on.
Well, that's the problem, right? Is that there are a million new 3D printed suppressor companies out there, and they have a wide variety of back pressure. Like even the White Bread is like a quote unquote low back pressure can, but it's not in the same league as like a Flow 556K or something like that, right? Whereas
the rifle has a wide enough operational envelope. You can put any suppressor you want on there. It's not going to stop the gun from functioning.
No, I agree with you. It is definitely going to run, but the point being that when people claim that it is like the softest rifle ever shot, like I don't even know how that's possible, just because it's tuned to run with essentially a no back pressure can, which is fine if that's what you're designing it for. But I just want
you understand why, though, right? You understand why we did that?
In terms of the contract reasons, or in terms
no. In terms of knowing what suppressor is going to be riding the gun for, let's say, a contract. Knowing what the gun has to perform in, and knowing the can's not going to assist the gun in this case. The gun has to do all the work.
Well, right, because you're designing it again around, basically a zero back pressure can, whereas
and where most of suppressor technology is heading. I'm designing a rifle for where everything is heading. I mean, you have to remember that gun started 3 years ago, right? So I mean, look at your SSI cans. Look at a lot of the other suppressors probably that haven't even been released yet. If you look at where all that's going, it was going to get one of those iterations. I think most suppressor companies are looking at pressure.
Well, sure, no, it's a major concern for a lot of people. But my point is that, again, when you're designing for a specific customer, makes sense, right? Because you can design and tailor it to someone's specific goals, needs, desires, whatever that might be. When it gets, again, in my case and in other people's cases, you're going to be giving it to or sending it to or selling it to people who have a wide variety of circumstances that they're putting it in. And so my only real critique in that area, and I don't even mean to dog you on this, is just that people claiming that, or even in your interview with Shark Coast Tactical, right, we're saying it's like faster than other rifles. Like, I don't necessarily know how that's possible, considering it's gassed, about the same as other rifles. So in my experience, it's like, I don't know how it's actually mechanically faster, if that makes sense.
Well, that gas port is also, remember, there's a correlation. It's like an algebra equation. You do one side, you do the other. That gas port is also paired with an A5. So you have more mass over a longer compression rate. So you can't look at the gas port as the only variable whenever you're pairing with an A5.
Right. No, I totally understand. But the point is, you're kind of like, you're adding the gas up front to slow it down in the back, right? That's how you have to compensate. You have to play around with both of those. So,
well, I'm saying they're clearly working together, right? There's a correlation.
Well, of course, right? There has to be. But what I'm saying is, like, if you have a gun that is just for sake of argument, like 10% softer gassed, even that is not necessarily like mechanically faster in the average person's arm. So when you said like you put it on drills or had other people put it on drills side by side with other rifles, like other high-end rifles, and it was just mechanically faster, like people just shot faster with it, like those sorts of claims I'm dubious of, right? Because if I just hand someone a gun that's like slightly softer gas, does that just immediately make it faster?
No, I think so. I'll be honest, man. Like, I'm not really a shooter per se. I build guns, but having talked to a lot of shooters and also actually looking at the data, and this wasn't my data. Like, there are people that have tested this gun for shootability against a shot timer, against all of the kind of guns that you would compete against. Like, so if someone's in the market for a Mark I, you can kind of guess what other rifles they're probably shopping for.
Sure.
So when they're shooting that against a shot timer, and the rifle is objectively getting, like, you know, I don't know. You're a competition shooter. Is it a lower or a higher score? How would you say that?
Well,
Like
if we're doing hit factor, it'd be a higher score, right? But that's my question though. So that implies that either the rifle is doing something special, which I don't think you're claiming that. There's no advanced delayed blowback system or anything like that.
So let me be clear. Out of industry etiquette, like I will never name other brands unless it's something complimentary. Like unless I'm complimenting another brand for being like a good rifle. But there are rifles out there that are competing in this exact space that, because of how unlock is delayed, or because of how a carrier might have longer travel due to design. Okay, there's a lot of guns out there that do that. Well, those guns almost feel like they have an overdrive. Or if you were to put them on like an accelerometer or something, like recoil itself might not be any different. But is the muzzle being driven down? Is the rifle being driven a certain direction? Like, how is the gun behaving? You know, and so.
Well, right. So there's so many variables to try and take account for. So like, if you told me, hey, this gun shoots like objectively faster and softer than a 416, I'd be like, well, yeah, it does, because a 416 is terrible to shoot, right, in comparison to like a standard DIAR. So of course it's faster. Of course it's easier to shoot.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man. I mean, I'll happily send you the gun back. Put a can on there that we designed it with. Leave the A5 system the way it is. And then go give it an objective.
Well, no, I appreciate that, but it's still in my closet. I haven't sent it back yet.
well,
so you guys will get it back, but no, it's totally fine, man.
By the way, dude, so you said something on the video. I watched your video, and you had said that we were sending out guns like to shills. Like, dude, I sent you a gun. You clearly are not a Sons of Liberty shill. Like, that's how confident I am in the gun. And,
well, I think it's fair because you sent it out to everyone, and so maybe if I don't remember exactly my wording there, but you definitely did send it to people that I would assign the title shill to. Yes.
Yeah, but then I sent it to a lot of people who are widely known in this industry for being objective. You know, you and I do have a few mutual friends. You know, we at least know some of the same people that I think you and I would agree are like objective people that actually are looking to put out good information, to put out good and accurate information, and to not hang their hat or their word or their reputation on anything, well, you know, other than what's true. And there's a few folks I think you and I both mutually respect that have that rifle and they shoot it quite a bit, and their feedback was quite a bit different. Now, I'm not saying your feedback is subjective, dude. And I take feedback very seriously. I actually really do care if people have a good experience with our product and with our company. And so if the feedback that you gave me was the consensus of large quantities of people, I would legitimately go back to the drawing board. But the feedback that I got from watching your video is not the consensus of the people that we talk to. And I am the easiest human being in the world to reach. And trust me, like,
apparently
I get calls all the time with feedback. But it's not just the professional end user stuff. I'm also very available to any customer that's out there. So, I mean, you know, to me, again, if we heard this in what you were saying, your experience, if it was common, well, it makes me rethink what to do. But I don't know what to do with that.
So can I be more specific with you? What part of my feedback did you take any issue with? Because in my opinion, like the general feedback, the thesis of my video is that the rifle is fine to good, but I just don't see the value proposition in it.
Do you know why that rifle's expensive?
Not particularly, no.
Have you thought about it?
Very little.
So that rifle, first of all, and I'm not arguing that billet is better than forged, but I will objectively, billet is more expensive than forged, right? So you have billet receivers, which are inherently more expensive. Like the barrel nut in that thing is titanium. That is not cheap. Like some of the rifles that I've been compared to have like aluminum. That rail is not cheap. The 3 hours it takes to engrave it is not cheap. All the extra machine time for the cable routing features and the scalloping and all that kind of stuff is not cheap. Neither is the tungsten in an A5. Neither is a lot of the QC that gun goes through. Like so.
Well, but what if I don't?
Hold on.
Go ahead.
When you go muzzle to butt on that gun, now I'm not arguing that like you need a titanium barrel nut. I'm not saying like this is a make or break kind of thing. I'm saying objectively speaking, titanium is more expensive than aluminum. Like so if you start looking at how much it costs to make that rifle, it's an expensive rifle. And the other thing that blows my mind, some of this stuff is, I'm a free market capitalist kind of guy. Like, if someone doesn't like it, or they don't see the value in it for them, then don't buy it. It's almost like we offended somebody by releasing a rifle to price at a margin which made sense for how expensive it is to make that thing. Well, dude, if it's not for you, don't buy it.
Well,
right now,
that's what I said in the video. Is that essentially that's what I recommended people not to do.
It is
right because go ahead.
We have a network of about 250 brick and mortar dealers. I prefer to work with dealers that have a relationship with their customer as opposed to big distribution and stuff, right? Like, because I think that's still like the backbone of how guns are sold in America. Really is over the counter, and that rifle sells out as soon as it hits the floor. It has been by far the most successful rifle we have ever made. And like right now, I'm not sure how many we've delivered against, but I think we've sold well over 11,000 of them.
Well, that's good and all, and I'm glad for that. The reason why I see the numbers being so good isn't really, for me personally, anything about the product itself, but it is, I think also, to be honest, your best marketing push ever with the amount of people that you sent out a Mark 1 to. Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't think we've ever pushed a rifle that we've never, to be critical of myself, to be critical of the company historically, we've never had a rifle that was as differentiated. Some of the details in that rifle that get dismissed on the commercial side are very much appreciated on the professional side. And so
right. But I do want to just for that, I am on the commercial side though. I don't really talk about the professional, contract end users type stuff. I'm just an everyday guy, and that's who I refer guns to, basically.
No, totally understand, and that's like I said, man. I'm not trying to sell you a rifle. I'm trying to explain where we're coming from there. And as far as the popularity of the thing, I personally do not believe, that remember, I'm part of the internet gun culture. I've been doing this for 14 years now. Matter of fact, Sons Liberty had zero marketing budget, so for the first at least 7 years of the company, it was me in gun groups, like giving out my phone number, or just having a sense of humor and fucking around online. So, I'm from the internet gun culture myself. The craziest lesson I got with the Mark 1, it was a huge eye-opening experience for me, dude, was the internet gun culture, which we're all a part of, and it's very loud and has like a very big megaphone, is a tiny, tiny fraction of the gun buying public. Like the people that walk in and buy a Mark 1 off the shelf have probably never heard of me. They've probably never heard of you. They've probably never heard of Grand Thumb. When you look at the 100 million gun owners in the country, and then you go and we look at our own reach, all of us, my reach, your reach, whoever's reach, you have to be really into this stuff to pay attention to us, or even the gun influencers. I don't think that it has the kind of impact that I used to believe it did. And remember, this is someone who built an entire business off of Instagram. That was my only way to reach clients.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, dude, again, I think that the rifle, it's a good rifle. It seems to be doing very well against its peers by people who, that don't follow you or me, and places that don't get their data from the consensus of a comment section. The rifle's doing really well in those places. To me, that's a compliment on the rifle. It's a compliment on what we worked on.
Well, But again, it's like I don't want to keep going back and forth with you on that. But if it's just normies, quote unquote, buying it, is it actually a boon to the rifle itself? If they've never heard of you or the company, they just buy it because it looks nice or because it's recommended to them by someone else, right?
Well, no, but I'm saying, but whenever it's going for a competitive down select in contracts we've never announced, in places that we don't talk about, when it's going for competitive down select where it's objectively being measured at places, that's all they do. Like that's, Crane, ARL, BRL. Like those people don't, or I mean, I shouldn't say those people, but those metrics are either real or they're not.
Well,
the precision, dispersion, heat mitigation, deflection, like carryability, all that stuff. That's the stuff that like the operator side, whenever they do end user eval, that's the stuff they're looking at is carryability. But as far as like the actual performance of the gun, like that's done. Like these things, like I've learned a lot in the last 3 years. I've learned more about guns than I have in the 10 years before that. And the way these things get selected is not arbitrary.
What do you mind if I take this in a slightly different direction? What do you think about Veil Solutions?
I hope that guy does great. I wish him all the best.
Okay, because he had I remember a year ago or so we covered some of the things that he had said about you and winning contracts. That the contracts came about through like whining and dining officials and stuff like that. Some of the claims that he was making on Instagram. Yeah, no,
that's I first of all, dude, let's be straight. All right, Sons of Liberty, in the grand scheme of things, is a very small company. Okay, it is. When you compare it to Sig or Knights or Geisley or whoever, anybody but us. Okay, if winning a contract came down to wine and dining people, I can't afford to wine and dine people like they can. Like it does. I think what it comes down to, I think contracts are actually kind of won, obviously on performance relationships, things like that, and then the eagerness or willingness of a company to work and work ethic. I think that does come into play. But
is that entirely true though? Because I mean, a lot of the SIG contracts, I mean, obviously they've been mega successful in their contract winning, but you hear people grumbling and people like getting jobs or getting kickbacks and stuff like that. So they're like, hey, are these trials actually fair? Which brings in, other trials into question. Are these actually being won solely on merit, or is something else?
Would you agree that like when you're dealing with a big army, when you're dealing with like that kind of machine, that is probably a slightly different selection process? There's maybe a little bit less political, maybe a little bit less.
So for that, like I literally have no idea. I would hope the smaller contracts are a little more personal, but like I'm not in that world at all, right? I'm just a normal retard. Like I have no idea what goes on in those environments.
Getting to talk to the end users and getting a sense that I never really appreciated before. They really do take their job very, very, very seriously. Very seriously. They're true professionals. And these aren't the guys that are on podcasts. But I'm saying the dudes that are in there doing the job right now, they're very serious dudes. And they can have whatever they want. Everything from whatever belt, boot,
sure,
optic, whatever they have their own helicopters. Okay? So, they are going to want the best equipment to do their job. They're not there to make friends. They don't give two shits if I got hit by a bus tomorrow, as long as the guns show up on time. And it's to do their job. It's not so much driven from the top down like it is on some of these bigger like army contracts where I think you can perhaps influence. On these, it really is from the bottom up. And it's the dudes that are still going through the door that get like the kind of like the say in what they want to carry. And it's just simple as that. It's actually like, I remember some of the conversations I had with them, like, you try to tell them something that sounds impressive, like, that sounds fucking great, dude. Like, does it work or not? Like, they're kind of it's, you know, it's very to the point.
Gotcha. Well, man, hey, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me.
I mean, we're on the phone. Is there anything else that you want to ask me while we're over here, man? Is there anything else? I mean, you know, I got to ask you, like how
Go ahead.
how did I get on to like how did I get onto your radar? I suppose. Like, what did I ever do something to personally offend you, or like have?
Oh, what? No, never.
I'm sincerely asking, dude, because like I mean.
No, so I don't have any problem with you at all. Again, me and you have never had a negative interaction as far as I can remember. That is, if you're referring to my video or something, that is my normal candor when it comes to companies. So if you want a little bit into my mindset, like I cannot be personally concerned with a company or individual when I'm talking about a product. And so it is about pointing out everything that I consider incorrect, like just being raw and vicious, right? Because like I know there's people that I kind of like in the industry, like a couple of people, right? But when it comes to products, like I just cannot be bothered to care about a inanimate object, right? It doesn't have feelings. I can be as mean to it as I want, basically.
I guess, dude. Except for, I guess maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm different than I don't know. You know, Marty Daniel or something, you know, because I still take this like I don't take your comments, dude, like super personally. I think.
Well, was it about the end of the podcast where you were with Nate?
What's that?
Was it something specific I said at the end of the podcast with you and Nate? Because I know you and Nate were on that Texas Police Officers Association thingamajig, and I made some comments there about yours and Nate's support of trans rights and selling guns to trans people, right?
Is that actually how you interpreted that? Is that how you interpreted that?
Well, yeah, or, yes, I did find that quite funny because it was something about like how the founding fathers intended it, and to me, it's like that's always strange when somebody brings in the founding fathers when they're talking about like trans or gay or minorities, and I'm like, I don't know if they would agree with you on that, not, right?
I clearly tell, and it's okay. Don't take offense. I can clearly tell you have not followed at least my personal page for very long, because I think, like, so the people that have known me for more than 30 seconds would find the hilarity of that, of drawing that conclusion. No, I think it's to conflate taking a position on the Constitution, to conflate that with taking a position on, like, trans issues. I think it's a hell of a leap, dude. It's a much easier and much more defensible position to interpret the Constitution as it was written, instead of going in there and cherry picking, you know, who it should and shouldn't apply to. I think if you were to sit down and just address it, you know, in that light, if I had to take a position and defend it, what would it be? To be selective, or for this Second Amendment to be written as intended?
Well, but you understand that when it was written, it was selective, though, right? That's my point.
What's hilarious about that is the argument that the anti-gunners are currently using in legislation as to why bans and safe storage laws and all that stuff can't be put. So they are through it wasn't Heller, what was it? Anyways, through one of those decisions to interpret it in the historical context. And you're not wrong. I would be careful. I would be very careful going down that road. I actually spent a lot of my time, money, and energy doing this, like, for real. Like, actually, like, you know, working towards advocacy changes, going to the places, speaking to the schools, speaking to these things. I mean, I've spent a lot of time doing this because I really passionately care about it. And so if I had to take a position on the Second Amendment, it would be it's just a much more defensible position than to be selective. That's it. It's as simple as that.
Well, I think you're making a distinction there. So I think the distinction you're making is that it's a more palatable position, or a more pragmatic position to do what you're doing now, rather than the one critique that I offer of your position, right? So again, I'm not trying to denigrate like your work that you've done to promote the Second Amendment or to fight against gay bills or anything else like that that are trying to restrict people. I'm not trying to denigrate any of that. It was simply a critique of that one specific context, that position, right?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, for being honest, I mean, it really did feel like a hell of a leap. And I guess to me, I was kind of taken aback by it because I know me. I know the stuff that I've very, very vocally and publicly stated when it comes to a lot of these issues, trans issues.
Sure. Well, no, I mean, your arc has been quite interesting, right? Because like I did a little bit of looking into like your past and whatnot, and you've had like a crazy arc, right, from the last 20 years or so.
Yeah.
Because I mean, think about it. Like, what, a decade or two ago, you were, a cob basically, and now you're making podcasts on a, Texas Police Officers Union podcast, right? It's kind of a crazy tradition or a crazy turn.
I hated authority back then, and I still hate authority. Except now, I don't necessarily see like the local sheriff's office as being the authority. I see the authority as like Bank of America.
Sure.
Or maybe some of these other, PACs, where like the real power is.
Like AIPAC.
The local sheriffs, to me, that is not, in my mind, like the head honcho, enemy of our lifestyle. It's not. I still have a problem with authority. That's why I make guns every day for Americans, because I think that is really the last kind of holdout, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, they're going to be able to take your ability to transact. At some point, they're going to be able to take your ability to communicate. They're going to take all, like, the last thing they're going to be able to take is your ability to hopefully pull the trigger. And so, to me, like, no, my problem with authority has remained consistent. It's just that I think as I've evolved and gotten out into the world a little bit, I realized where the authority is. The ability to seize my bank accounts because I own a gun company. That's happened to me. I can't have PayPal, Square, Venmo.
Same, dude.
Nobody in my family can. Like, to me, like my local sheriff didn't do that. Most of those guys actually vote in alignment with me. I 100%
agree with you. There is way bigger fish to fry than like local PDs and stuff like that. 100%. Yeah. Like the actual seats of power and soft power within the society that we live in are a lot more nefarious, and they go under the radar, because the cops are easy because they're visible, and so they get a lot of heat because they're easy to point out. But it's the ones that are just under the surface, subverting. Those are the ones that are dangerous.
Yeah, you know that news article that came out, that hit piece article. Do you know how that originated?
Sorry, which one?
Like where people talk about my arc being arrested, things of that nature.
I don't know where that originated from. No.
So I had led a town hall meeting in San Antonio, because the city council wanted to do a gun buyback, and they wanted to actually use police funds to fund this gun buyback. I brought like 500 people to this town hall, and they were kind of freaked out because these town halls normally attract like 20 people,
right?
People that don't have cable or something. And we actually got that beat down. They actually reversed their position and they stopped, at least for the time being. And the very liberal people in the city at the time, they kind of retaliated against that. And there was a lot of really unfair, untrue things said. But I just, kind of rested on the fact of what is my actual reputation? What is my actual relationships?
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, the only time I see it at this point is from somebody who, I don't know, thinks my gun's overpriced. That's the only time I ever hear it. But when it comes to contracts or working with cities or police departments, nobody gives a shit.
Well, right. So then maybe I should ask you this. So since the people that you actually work with and the people that actually deal with you and you have more of a connection with and more of a business relationship with, why do you particularly care that some anti-gun nut hates you, or that somebody like me thinks your gun's overpriced? Does that bother you or what?
does it bother me? That's a good question, I guess.
Well, right, because I mean, it seems like you had this like ready to ask me when I called, so I'm just curious if that actually does bug you. Like, to me, if somebody was talking trash about me on the internet, like, obviously I'm a less professional person than you, so I would clap back. But if you're a professional person, you just ignore it. Right? It's like it's somebody else, some other goobers talking about me online. Who cares? Right?
Yeah, I mean, in the business sense, yeah, like who cares? Like, if sales were to suffer, then I mean, we would address it. Or if there was other kinds of like tangible consequences, then I suppose. But that's not it. That doesn't mean that it's still kind of a pet peeve of mine to be misunderstood. Like I don't mind people hating me. Like, dude, there's a lot of people that hate me, but like for real reasons. But whenever the reasons are like twisted or stretched or misrepresented,
that sounds like an admission, Mike. You're like, yeah, people have real reasons to hate me. It's like, whoa, wait, back up. No. People shouldn't have real reasons to hate you, right?
I would imagine that. Dude, I'm sure everybody has someone that hates them. Like, no, I don't think I've done anything like, super evil or nefarious, dude. But I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe my competitors hate me right now. I don't know. Maybe I got my 2-year-old yelling at me.
There you go.
Inside, baby. I'm on the phone with the internet.
Well, listen, man. If you need to go hang out with your family, I don't mean to be taking your weekend away from you, man. I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, I mean, no problem, dude. So, now what? Like, how does this get spun? I mean, I want you to know I did have a conversation with you in good faith. And
again, I don't have a problem with you, Mike, at all. I mean, I've said my piece on your product, but I don't have any issue with you at all.
Okay.
So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I'm actually just happy you took the phone call, right? I'm shocked that you took the phone call, honestly. I thought it was a joke, when you posted your phone number up there. And then you picked up instantaneously. I'm like, oh, damn, now I'm in a real call.
Yeah, well, like I said, I actually take my relationships with customers, and I take my product.
Well, that's cool. I think people will enjoy that aspect of it. One thing I could ask you: do you know anything about Dugan Ashley? Have you heard about his situation recently?
I haven't, but I actually take that back. I have heard that he got arrested. I'm not super familiar with why he got arrested. This is specifically the kind of stuff that I historically have worked on. So if you want to hit me up offline, and if you want to fill me in, then maybe we can start bringing more resources to bear.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. I appreciate the offer. I'll hit you up.
What did he specifically get arrested for?
So there are technically 4 charges. I'm trying to think. One is like disseminating information online, which is really gay. He essentially it's above my pay grade. It's explosives, nerd stuff. Like he was uploading videos to YouTube, like going through like different detonators or like weird things. And it's just like really simple videos, right? So somebody in Atlanta, I want to say, got arrested, and then they found one of Dugan's videos allegedly on his device. And because of that, they're like, oh, this guy is using Dugan's videos to make bombs, like in a terroristic fashion, right? And so he gets brought up on that charge. And then I was at his deposition. So there was a constructive intent DD possession, which was like 3 different components in 3 different areas that they were like, oh, well, that could technically be a bomb. So we're going to get him on that. And then there was operating without a license, I want to say, but he never stored or transported any, material. So he didn't even need a license. So as far as he's concerned, as far as I'm concerned, it's all BS, but it's all stuff to do with that. It's like they get you on one thing and then they try and like throw 5 or 6 other things on there to get you to plea out.
Yeah, it's the federal system. Unfortunately, what I've seen from a lot of different things I've worked on is that, if it's like a AR-15s, like that is something you can rally a lot of public support for in Congress, or with people with influence. Unfortunately, like explosives, that is something that a lot of people are afraid to.
Correct. It's scary for people because I have no idea about any of this stuff, right?
So what he's going to need is some, obviously some well funded and purists, the kind of people who believe the 2A apply to everybody.
Yeah.
Those kinds of attorneys. That's who you're going to need to prevail. And I hope they do. If there's something I can do, count me in.
Yeah, I'll reach out to you. I'll fill you in on the info, and we'll talk about that afterwards.
All right. Well, I'm sorry you didn't have a good experience with the Mark 1. If you want to try it again with the Hux and the A5 and shoot it, love to hear your take.
Will do, man. I appreciate it. You have a great 4th of July, sir.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Well, that was a very pleasant phone call. I did say at the beginning that we were online, right? Because I would feel terrible if you didn't know that we were online. I said at the very beginning, like we're on a stream, right? But anyways, he picked up. Crazy work. Ah, very, very nice. Well, anyways, that was an interesting conversation. Again, I've never had a problem with Mike specifically. I don't have any issues with Mike. I don't really. I think, again, if I was even just pulling stuff up while we were on the phone, but you can go look at the Icon Defense handguard and upper combo. They're like 600 credits, which 600 credits. Even if you add in a bunch of machining, it's like, I don't know where $3,000 comes from. But anyways, hope that worked out well for all of you. And you guys were going after it in the chat. I hope you all enjoyed that. That was a good time, right? That was different. Never had a live call like that. Anyways, okay, well, let's get to your guys' support, and then maybe we'll leave without Rage Bait for 4th of July because we're already an hour and a half in. That was like an hour phone call, wasn't it? Let me check. That was quite a long conversation we had. 40 minutes. 40 minutes. That's not bad. All right. 9x19 for $20 says, let's go. Big Toe Money Friday. Christ is King. Happy Independence Day tomorrow, gents. Stay safe and free Dugan. Very base. Thank you very much.
This is a song of the summer shit. You know it's funny. Walk on stage with no shoes on. All I need is feet, boy, I'm too gone. Hey, take money, big toe money. This is a song of the summer shit. You know it's funny. Walk on stage with no shoes on. All I need is feet, boy, I'm too gone. My feet feel good, your feet where they should. Y'all just sitting in the grass with a cigarette. Take money, big toe money. That's a bigger check. Walking in, everybody's.
Let me see. I'm going to put a poll in the chat for everybody because I see people want Rage Bait. Rage Bait. Some of it's funny. Some of it's not so funny. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. 9x19. Also, thank you for all of the gifts in chat. I really appreciate that. I can't name them all off because they're coming by so fast, but thank you. Dillweed for 5 says, I'm not mooish, so this live stream was only promised to me 250 years ago. That was a long time, bro. Long time. Thank you, Dillweed. Deer Hunter, member for 9 months. We've now birthed our membership baby. Says, watching the fireworks with the fam. Have a good night, gents. God bless. Well, God bless you too, Deer Hunter. Appreciate it. I'm excited. I got a match tomorrow morning. I got to get back here so that I can take my wife and kids out to a fireworks show. It's going to be a good time. Dinocide for 1911 megabase. Thank you, Dinocide. Says, got headshot after headshot my first time out with my new used 1911 while the diversity lanes the diversity, yes, is the diversity in the room with us. That was a fun conversation. The diversity 3 lanes down, shot a 2-foot group with a Draco at 15 yards. LOL, LMAO, pre-Zimbabwe is fun. Dude, it is interesting being like, me and you, we might be opponents in the not too distant future. All right, I'm going to take my side, though. Thank you, Dinocide. Appreciate that, sir. CM Scar for 5 says, made an extra 7.5K last month. Based? What do we think, men? New pews and some rounds, or an dirt bike and lots of rounds, or max out the Roth IRA? Well, what's actually going to be useful to you, right? If I had to guess, we're in a couple months of stability here. So ammo prices are probably going to settle around, 20 to 25 cents a round for 9mm, 45-ish for 5.56. If I was projecting towards the future, though, like things could escalate. So probably ammo and dirt bike if you need that, if that's something that's actually usable for you. Get the ammo and get like mobility or something. That sounds like fun. Thank you, Scar. Appreciate that. Jim Eagle for 2 says 4 streams in a week. Take some petty cash. I'll take some pretty cash from you with those fingernails. Thank you, Jim Eagle. Appreciate that. Grug Hullabunga for 5 says the ATF is gay. Calling the ATF is turbo AIDS. True. Wait, so somebody's saying get Corey, bring him on, get a thermal. Is Corey the guy from the IG video, the bearded fellow? Is Corey on? Oh, there's Corey Iman. There he is. Damn, are we just going to have people show up? I just had a call with Mike. Now we're going to have another guest on the show, like back to back to back. It's wild. Thank you, Grug Hullabunga. James Stephenson for 2 says, just a note that OCL is doxing trash too. Hashtag both suck or both suck. I don't know. Who have they doxed? That's the first I've heard of that. I'm not calling you a liar, but that's the first I've heard of that, James. But I mean, it is very possible that everyone in the gun industry just sucks. Every single one of them. Atramentar for 5 says, watched vid on foiled attack. What line do you think they will have to cross before we as Americans, we determine we don't need them in society? Well, we have already determined that we don't need them in society, but the rest of society is still like playing along for a little while. So not really sure. Thank you, Atramentar. Appreciate that. Just Some Space Cowboy for 5 says a lot of these new rifles are based on LWRC's old 6.8. We've just gone back to 2012. Maybe we should have, imagine if we had just adopted 6.8, right? 6.8 SPC. All these conversations, it would have just been 6.8 SPC peak, right? Or max or plus, whatever they call it. Thank you, Space Cowboy. Rogue Centurion for 10 says, I have a Yugo M70 that's probably 10 to 11 pounds. You've roasted it before, yes. And I can tell you it's the last rifle I'd grab for any serious use, and I love that gun. It's fine to like things. It's fine to be like happy and have a gun that's silly. But saying like, no, you literally got to have 22 pounds on your rifle or else you're not going to make it. It's like, okay, whatever. Whatever, bro. Thank you, Rogue Centurion. Lightspore for 2 says, Mike's getting a cock pick in his messages. Lightspore, no. No, I told you not to do that. Thank you, Lightspore. Dillweed for 5 says, a 4th of July weekend miracle. Very true. It was a good time. A good talk. Thank you, Dillweed. Cody Fisher for 10 says, this is fun. Thank you very much, Cody. Appreciate that, good sir. Axe to Grind in chat, always. Anytime trans people or Sons of Liberty Gunworks comes up, Axe to Grind is here. Ask Mike about the founder's intent with the Immigration and Naturalization Act of 1791. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they only wanted a certain type of person. You know, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, oh, the founding fathers this, the founding fathers that. And it's like, I don't know about that, though. You know, it's like, I feel like they were pretty selective. Thank you, Tulip. Anyway, CM Scar, member for 2 months, says, I hate the banks too. That was good. That was a good time, right? You know, a little APAC, slip a little APAC in there. Thank you, CM Scar. Ask Mike what he thinks about Roscoe BBLs. Roscoe's a dog, so he better not have a BBL. If he has a BBL, then we're going to go kill those vets. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate that. Josh also says, hey, can I get $30? Yes, you can have $30. $20? What do you need $20 for? $10? You're crazy. CM Scar for 2 says, ask Mike to donate to Dugan. Sons of Liberty Gunworks can write it off. That's true. I'll talk to him afterwards. I'll send him a text. I have his number, so I'll send him a text. Central Sands Defense for 2 says, awfully suspicious he picks up on the first ring. Maybe. Thank you, Central Sands Defense. Bushmaster for 2 says, if I could get some prayers, it would be greatly appreciated. Been dealing with some pretty heavy spiritual warfare. Many thanks. God bless. Christ is King. Well, thank you for letting us know that, Bushmaster. We will be in prayer for you because it's never fun to be going through a tough time. Caragalactica, thank you for the raid on Rumble. And Jarrett over on Rumble says, I was going to try to say something witty for my super chat, but I'll just say, please pray for Bushmaster. He's done the same for me. Christ is King and God is good. Thank you, Jarrett. I appreciate that. Everyone in the chat, pray for Bushmaster. Both the person and the company, okay? They could both use it. They're both, one spiritual warfare, the other one's financial warfare. Sealhammer for $10 says, 250th birthday, and we got the Sons of Liberty Gunworks interview. Incredible. Thank you very much for the 10. Tulip for $25. He wants the hop.
Kill yourself, faggot.
I don't understand. Care. No, again, I don't fucking care, brother. Come on. Okay, I don't fucking care. What's good about this optic?
It should be what's good about this rifle. Oh, dude, that would have been a good add-on. I like Hop, KY Elf, and a nuttin' gay, if you would. Oh, damn, where's the nuttin' gay?
And I think it's retarded and gay. Okay?
Mike answering is pretty based and talking for 20 minutes. I can understand him being upset at his product being called a scam, overpriced, and almost no one needs one, that for sure. Well, yeah. Well, again, we'll talk about that. See, now I feel bad. It's like, am I supposed to put up a follow-up video on the Mark I going over how bad the marketing was on it? It's like, we just had a talk. It's like, I don't know. That's the problem. You know, you talk to people, you see that they're real humans, and you can't just berate them for fun. It's terrible. It's terrible having feelings. Let me see. Did that guy send me a message? He did not. He did not. So what's the guy's name? I'll send him a join link. Fort Knox podcast. I'll send him a join link if he wants to talk. Why not? We've already ruined the stream, okay? It can't get any worse. Fort Knox podcast. I just DM'd you the join link to your Instagram. Axe Giant comes in and says, big props to Mike for coming on. Yeah, it was good on him. Good job. Good on him for talking it out and asking me all the questions. I thought that was good. Even though, I mean, we still disagree on a bunch, but regardless of that. Now, this is kind of the intro to Rage Bait, okay? I'm trying to ease it in, make it a little funny on the way in to Rage Bait before it gets more serious. So now, I know a lot of you guys think you're cool, think you're operators, think you're gunfighters, but we need a wigger to tell us how to shoot. We need a wigger to answer the question about red dots versus iron sights, or versus no sights at all. So we have the realest wigger of them all to tell us exactly what we need to know. But before we do, let me make sure that my audio is actually on, and it is. Fantastic.
Sights on your gun is irrelevant in an urban setting. And I will argue with you gun experts to the end of the world about that shit. You know why? Because I've been in real shootouts and you haven't. And I have never not once had to use my motherfucking sights. In fact, I say 90% of the bangouts I was in, if I tried to use my sights, I probably would have got killed. When you have somebody shooting back at you, if you focus too much on one thing, like your sights, you're not seeing what the fuck is going on. Real shootouts are point and shoot every single bangout I've been in. But to be honest, sights are cheap as hell in there.
Have we ever heard of a bang out before? Like, a bang out sounds like something else that these guys do together. You know, like the post shootout bang out to let off some stress, or is it the pre-shootout bang out where they let off stress? Right? It seems like he's getting these things mixed up. Because, like, please stop calling your shootouts bang outs, okay? Because it's just completely different connotation. Fort Knox podcast says that he will be on next week. He's busy right now. He's doing something good. So okay, totally fine, no problem. Anyways, he's so right, dude. So true. Yeah, I'm not sure what type of ethnicity this is. I'm just gonna put him in the umbrella term of wigger maxing. He might be Mexican. It's possible. Maybe there's a little bit of light skin in there. Mutt. Yeah, I think Focus Trip really is correct, isn't he? Focus Trip is super correct all of the time. Perfect takes, by the way. Definitely a mutt. Mystery Meat, the Kalergi Kid. Absolutely not a wigger. There's a lot in there. There's yeah, see, I'm saying there's something in there. There's something in there. Focus Trip, okay. I disavow whatever Focus Trip said there, but I'm sure it was accurate.
There's absolutely no reason for you not to have sights on your gun. The only thing that they will do is give you an advantage that you didn't have without the sights on the gun. Because you might find yourself in a different situation than the situations I've been in. But I would say fucking 95% of self-defense shootings, even hood shootings, whatever you want to call it, a real bang out, bro, you is not sitting there aiming down your sight.
Yeah, bro, you wouldn't know when you was in a real bang out. You wouldn't be sitting there in the corner in the cuck chair aiming down your sights. You know what I'm saying? You got to be just getting in there and spraying and praying when you in the bang out with the boys, right? You know, you don't need no iron sights. You need to be hard, okay, but not iron sight hard when you in the bang out with the boys. Know what I'm saying? Don't be sitting in no corner in your iron sights in the bang out with the boys. Don't even gonna need it, son. Let me tell you, as a real bang out master.
Maybe if you want offense, but like I said, a real bang out, somebody shooting back.
What trench grenade? I'm live right now. You Trench Grenade just messaged me. He hasn't talked to me since the stream. And then he messages me live. Trench Grenade, I'm live right now, dog. Stop it. Anyways, I'm sure that'll be funny. Trench, stop. Stop. You're gonna, if there's something, I gotta Trench. Whoa. Damn. No, that's gross. Well, we do have another piece of rage bait. Oh, you're good. You're good. I mean, it was nice. He was just sending me something to bring up on stream, but he didn't realize I was live. All right. Thanks, Trench. I appreciate that. Thank you. Anyways, back to this. Stop messaging me. Stop it.
Before, you not sitting there aiming down your sights, man, I promise. Sights on your gun is irrelevant in an urban setting. And I will argue with you gun experts to the end of the world about that shit. You know why? Because I've been in real shootouts and you haven't. And I have never not once had to use my motherfucking sights. In fact, I'd say 90% of the bangouts I was in, if I tried to use my sights, I probably would have got killed. When you have...
Anyways, enough of that guy. Again, we're still going to ease into it because the story that Trench sent me is very gross, but you will have to thank Trench for this. Now, again, it's just activities, okay? Just some ethnic activities. You're going on your public transport. You're having a good time. And every now and again, you just get accosted by individuals. So, hello, Cook County Sheriff. One of the inmates from the jail appears to be literally swinging from the bars on the red line. We're not sure whether to call you or animal control to come get this one. Now, this is just a man in his natural habitat. He was built for it, okay? He was built for the bars. They were calling to him like vines on a tree, okay? These was a reset to factory settings. You can take the ape out of the jungle, but you can't take the jungle out of the ape. He's wearing a Department of Corrections shirt. As soon as he, like, was this guy just sitting there in the corner, like minding his own business? I like how this guy looks like he's like in firefighter clothes and he's like, bro, I'm not dealing with this. I'm not looking him in the eye. I'm just pretending he doesn't exist. And then this other guy caught the ire of the what's the word for the silverback? Okay, right? That's the top ape is the silverback. Is that right? So he's like trying to show that I'm the one in charge here. Okay, I'm the leader of this pack of apes here, and I'm gonna, anyone who challenges me is gonna get it. What was that? What was that? It's the whole getup, though, right? It's the whole thing. It's the outfit. It's the taking your shirt off, the wig. It's the whole the jumping on the monkey bars, right? That was quite funny. Aptly named, by the way. That was great for a moment or two. For what reason, we're not entirely sure, but just totally monkey maxing on public transit. Also, I have no idea what he said. No, something about Instagram. I think he was talking about Instagram there. Now, in another incident of blue on blue violence here, we have what appears to be A construction crew, compromised mostly of Hispanic-speaking individuals. And they get into a tussle on the rooftops, and one of them tells the other, hey, you got to stop fighting or else the white people will call ICE on us. Oh, straight off the... Oh, my gosh.
Güey, cálmense a la verga, puto. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, güey, cálmense a la verga. Hey, güey, cálmense. Hey, güey, no le pegues, güey. No le pegues, güey. Van a llamar a la policía a los güeyes si no se calman, hijos de la verga,
Location.
Andan agarrándose a vergas, calucha de estos vatos, güey. ¿A qué vergas mandan a esa gente, güey?
Oh, yeah, that first one. Oh, it's so bad, isn't it?
Güey, cálmense a la verga, puto.
Ow. Dude, if those were people who had feelings, that's got to be terrible. Anyways, new roof and a bonus MMA show. Must be the guy Frank Rizzo hired, true. Whomever gets the room cleaned up first gets the green card and the anchor baby. Yeah. Dude, the initial fall off onto that trailer, ugh, my back would just break. And not in a bang out with your bros type of way. It would just be, ugh, turn to glass, okay? Talk about rooftop defense. That's good. I want to watch this one more time. Ow, and then, ow. Ugh.
Güey, cálmense a la verga, puto.
See. Jeez Louise. Okay, so anyways, we've got our mix of ethnic infighting. And now we're going to get into a story that I actually wanted to cover because this just surmises Western society perfectly. So 3 blacks attack a drunk white kid in Birmingham, which is a terrible place to live in the UK. Spoiler alert, the whole UK is kind of a terrible place to live. The female police officer comes in to protect the violent blacks and arrests the white kid. Absolutely disgusting the way white people are treated here in England. And it's so just a perfect summation of what we have to deal with. So white kid over here doing his thing, whatnot. We'll see what happens. And British eubonics is so obnoxious, right? It's like, you know, monkeyisms with a British accent. It's like, okay, like we know you guys like talk like this, but do you have to put on the British accent as well? That he gets sucker punch, he gets hit time. Female police officer instantly goes for him, lets the other people run away.
Do not fucking punch me, guy. Put your hands behind your back.
This guy here sucker punches. Guy gets hit in the back of the head. Now, the guy does kind of throw a drunken punch, but it's because he thinks he's still being accosted. I guarantee it. He's like, oh, I'll throw a punch. And it misses the officer, you know, unluckily, I would say. But, like, he wasn't trying to punch the officer. Thank you for accosting the white kid and letting the 3 animals loose. You disgusting piece of trash. Now, the Birmingham police responded to this incident in a just like their country deserves to burn down, right? If this is how they treat their people, you deserve the riots, you deserve the burnings, you deserve the fires, you deserve all the chaos that's coming your way. I'm sorry. If this is your disgusting, evil treatment of your own people in to benefit foreigners and people who are not your people, will never be your people, will never assimilate, who are not English in any way, shape, or form, you deserve it, bros. The Birmingham police respond. This incident has been reviewed, and we have no concerns over the officers' actions, and we are satisfied that they were reasonable and proportionate in the circumstances. We ask that this footage is not further shared to allow the legal process to take its course. So the totalitarian police state in the UK being like, hey, would you please not share this footage around? We feel that if this footage gets shared around, it may taint the public's perception of our young ethnic youths and also our policing. So please, UK citizens, do not share this footage because it could show us in a deleterious fashion, and we do not enjoy that. And again, Zoomer Historian just going in on him as well. It's an absolute joke. And now this image right here, right? Getting beat up by blacks, you get arrested, get masturbating in front of kids and get beat up, and then the women, of course, run to your defense. Now, this sums up America. This sums up the West as a whole. We, unfortunately, gave the rights to women against the founding fathers' intent, right? To tie it back to the conversation with Mike, very much so against the founding fathers' intent. And we allowed them to pretend that they were equal, that, you know, they could accomplish the same tasks as us and whatnot. And I think that thought experiment has simply run its course. I think it's time to call it quits, to say, no, thank you. We're done. It's over. Women are going back in the kitchen, whether they like it or not. And really, that's the end goal, regardless. Whoever takes power, right? If it's an Eastern power that takes power, women are going back in the kitchen. If it's a Middle Eastern power that takes power, guess what? Women are going back in the kitchen. Actually, they're going in the rape caves. But regardless, okay? So women are one way or the other going back in the kitchen. It's just who's going to actually put them there, okay? Is it going to be Western societies? Is it going to be Middle Eastern societies? Or is it going to be Far Eastern societies? But one way or the other, women going back in the kitchen. Sorry, dogs. Gonna happen again. And here's the actual video of him, of course, being arrested and put in the car. Now he's being a little drunk and belligerent. That is, and again, 3 officers just taking it out on the white guy who literally didn't do nothing in this case, while letting the perpetrators free, is a perfect summation of why these police officers deserve no respect. None at all. They deserve whatever's coming to them. Only traitors help invaders. But you know what? You know what the police do have time for in the UK? And again, I hate the accents. Do you have to pretend to have a British accent? I mean, you're already like, you shouldn't be talking like that, right? But regardless, we have brown on brown. So we have browns on the inside getting accosted by browns on the outside because they're not serving halal meals. So this to me is just a brown on brown violent situation. Who cares? But the police officer, who also happens to be brown and policing the situation, is just being so soft and so kind. And listen, I know that they're accosting you and they're hurting your business, but we just can't do anything about it because, you know, we have to respect their wants and traditions, okay? And you not serving halal is really uninclusive when you think about it.
CCTV camera outside right now facing the shop. They have been asked to leave. They've said that they would like to protest outside. I've said as long as they do not stop patrons from coming in and out of your restaurant, that's absolutely fine. I can't stop them. Potentially, if they do cause any other issues, you just need to call us.
So I can't leave the home or restaurant now because they protest.
They'll attack us.
No, that's not excuse.
Right, so if when you go to leave, they are still outside, then by all means call us. We will come and we can help.
And if they follow us for home?
Is this we are living in jungle or where? We have to call police to leave my premises. No, right. So the problem we have here, and I don't want to get into the ins and outs of it, but essentially they're not happy with your restaurant policy. Fuck them.
So they're all the halal restaurant. I'm not happy.
I'm not happy with this country. I'm not happy with you. I'm not happy with your service. What you're doing. I'm not happy with this. So what? But I cannot do anything. So I just keep quiet and sitting, having my drink.
That's not excuse, man. I will post this video also.
I'm not happy with.
Yeah, I've seen enough. Just burn it all down. Like, I mean, the people outside complaining, the people inside complaining, the police officer, like, really? Like, you don't need to be here, right?
Police, they're not doing duty. They're covering my place.
I need to tell me to blood work.
I'm losing this, and fucking I am paying your wages, not these asylum seekers.
I love how I'm a real British man. I'm a real British man. You need to serve me, not these dang barking asylum seekers. You'd work for me, you bloody working bastard. But I just have to pretend that you're here. There's Trench Grenade in chat. Thanks, Obama. Yeah, exactly. Obama ruined the UK. Well, since he's here, I'll get to his story next because that is disgusting. And I had to read it, so that means you guys do too. So, hello? What just happened? There it is. So, bond granted for mother and father charged after children left alone in Columbia house fire. Now, just keep in mind that while these animals get their bond granted, Chud is still behind bars and Dugan Ashley is still behind bars for 1/10, 1/1,000,000th, something as egregious. So Columbia SC, a mother and father are now facing charges. Like you guys already know, okay? You see the eyes, even in the fog of war, a tank is visible. You see the eyes, you know it's going to be bad. A mother and father are now facing charges after police say they left 3 kids inside a home by themselves during a house fire. On Wednesday, 21-year-old Malik Locke appeared in court for a bond hearing alongside 28-year-old Zana Odin. Both are charged with 3 counts of unlawful conduct of a child and were granted bond. They let their own children die. Unlawful conduct, huh? Police say 3 young ladies, 3 young girls. Police say the young girls were 6, 4, and 2 and were all alone at a home that caught fire on Florence Street Monday. Crews with the Columbia Richland Fire Department were able to put out the blaze within minutes after forcing their way inside and getting the children out. The children were then taken to JMS Burn Center in Augusta, Georgia for further treatment. Officials said Wednesday that the children suffered severe burn injuries but were listed in critical but stable condition. During the bond hearing, prosecutors said that the children had been left home. I thought they had died. Left home alone for at least a week before the fire. Wait, sorry. During the bond hearing, prosecutors said the children had been left home alone for at least a week before the fire. 6, 4, and 2. 6, 4, and 2 left alone for a week. Like I have a 5, 3, and a 1-year-old. And I think if we left for a week, Bruce would be able to figure out like food and whatnot, but he would just run out at some point. That's the problem. Bruce would be able to figure it out, but he would probably be able to call someone or go to neighbors, but geez. No one had checked on them during that period of time, and a neighbor reported having not seen Odin for a month. Ugh. Prosecutors also said that the youngest child was found very malnourished and did not have any food. One of the children also reportedly had insects in her diaper. Well, she was probably wearing it for a week, which is just disgusting. Just disgusting. Like, some people should not reproduce. Some people should not have the choice to reproduce. Some people need to be removed from society so as to not be a burden on society and to not create more burdens on society. One of the children also had insects in her diaper. A police report released by CPD on Wednesday stated an officer noted the home was in disrepair. No kidding. And that Odin had kept the home in a state that was not safe for the physical and mental development of the victims. Yeah, you think so? You think that the home was not safe for the kids, left alone for a week? A victim's advocate said Wednesday that Odin admitted to leaving the home last week, but said she tried to come back. She then left again after seeing a large police presence in the area. Odin was granted a $300,000 bond. Again, for abandoning children, $300,000 bond. For self-defense, $1 million bond that they won't allow you to do. And then for making YouTube videos in Dugan Ashley's case, no bond at all. Locke's attorney argued that his client had no prior arrests and was kicked out of the home, having no way to get to the home. But authorities said he was aware of the fire and did not contact police. So listen, if you're a parent, and it's apparent these people should not have been a parent. But if you're a parent and you are aware of your child being in danger and you do nothing, regardless of the whole leaving them alone for a week beforehand. Like, you do need to be eliminated, right? Because if you hate your own children, like, what possible value could you be to society? If you view your own children as like unvaluable things to not be cared or invested in at all, like, you kind of yourself have to be removed, right? Like, you yourself are a problem now. The father knew. He went by the house. He had contact with the mother. He warned her that police was there. Kelly said, Mom drove by while these firefighters was putting out the fire. She knew. She didn't come forward. He was later granted a $200,000 bond. Why? Malik Locke. Both were ordered to be under house arrest. What house? To be under GPS monitoring and to not have contact with each other or the victims. Locke's provisions allow him to leave home for work. Columbia Richland Fire Chief Aubrey Jenkins said the flames never reached the kids, but the smoke and heat did. He described what the firefighters saw once they went inside the home. It was almost like they were limp. I thought they had inhaled a lot of smoke. I was irate because these are innocent kids, and someone should have been there to take care of them. 100%. In court, prosecutors said one child was found in a playpen while another was found unresponsive. No way. The kid was stuck in a playpen for a week? Like, right, these people aren't getting bond. They're getting tied to horses and pulled in 4 different directions. You left a 2-year-old in a playpen for a week with, insects and maggots and everything else. Like, no trial. Nah, no bond. What are we talking about here? Bond? Psh, bondage? Yeah, I'm going to bind your hands and feet and toss you into the river. That's the only bonds you're getting. 3 children under 5 left alone in a house. Well, I think one of them was 6. 3 children under 5 left alone in a house. Criminal investigation underway. Jenkins also described seeing a cockroach infestation inside the home. Of course, why not? On Tuesday, Kelly called the conditions to the home prior to the fire deplorable, adding that Odin could face more charges. Firing squad? Kelly said that Odin was arrested after being found less than a mile away from the home. Odin reportedly tried to run from officers, later hiding in a closet inside an apartment on Ripplemeyer Avenue before being taken into custody. And this guy's allowed to go to work? Why? Why are we allowing this guy to go to work? Allowing him to breathe, right? It's unclear where she was when the fire happened. Oh, that's the mother. Never mind. My apologies. Kelly added that the police are speaking with the other biological fathers of the other. Oh, kill me. Oh, fine. Of course. Of course, they're all different baby daddies. Of course they are. Who could have known that with 3 kids, there were 3 different baby daddies? Who could have seen this happen? Who could have forecasted this? The cause of the fire has not been determined, and fire officials are investigating it as a suspected arson. CPD investigators are also working to determine the circumstances that led to the incident. Now, the question is, did one of the parents set the fire, or did one of the kids accidentally start the fire? Like, imagine kids, you're 6 years old, you're trying to do like survive, right? And you're like, oh, I don't know, I see mommy cook food on the stove. You hope, right? You hope there's some knowledge there. Like my 3-year-old can make scrambled eggs. Like my 3-year-old, start to finish, can make scrambled eggs, and that's because she cooks with my wife. But I could see unattended how they could start a fire pretty easily. So did the kids start the fire, which wouldn't be hard to do? Or if they're like arson, did one of the parents set the fire and be like, oh well. It's unclear where she was when the fire happened on Monday night. Kelly added that the police are now speaking with the other biological fathers of the other 2 children. The cause of the fires have not yet been determined, and officials are investigating it as a suspected arson, which is insane. Upon release from the hospital, officials said the children will be placed in emergency custody with the South Carolina Department of Social Services. These kids were absolutely defenseless against the flames and the smoke and the conditions. Kelly said, so we're going to make sure she stands to be judged in the court of law. If only you would have this, I wouldn't even call this tenacity, right? Because like, these types of people get away with so much on a regular basis. Like, can we just punish them for their crimes? Can we just have that? Like, the nation cries out for justice. Society cries out for justice. Can you just do your one job, judicial system, and dispense justice upon them, please? Well, thanks for that, Trench. Thanks for their absolute mega rage bait. I hope you were all having a good day before we got to that one. Barbarian over on Ko-Fi says, fuck a bond burn. Sorry. F a bond, burn these effing apes. Romans 1:18. Quite the contrast there. Let's see. Romans 1:18 states that God's wrath. Let's go to Bible Gateway here. Romans 1:18, the wrath of God is being revealed from heaven against all the godlessness and wickedness of people who suppress the truth by their wickedness. Thank you very much for that, Barbarian. And yeah, I mean, these people, and I use that term very loosely, how they treat their own offspring, their own children, their own progeny, should show you what they value in the world. And it is essentially nothing at all. But it's not going to get any better there, guys. So we're just getting deeper and deeper into rage bait here. So exclusive, illegal alien brothers charged in murder of ex-Marine in triple shooting at Florida construction site. And this happened yesterday. A man with 2 children and a wife murdered by a couple of illegals over probably nothing right before the 4th of July. Happy 4th of July for you guys. Guatemalan brothers who were unleashed in the U.S. by the Obama regime are facing murder charges after a young father was killed and 2 other men were injured in a shooting at a construction site in Florida. Borderhawk can exclusively report. This was back in March 4th. Giovanni Diego Lopez Cobo. That's way too many names. I'm sorry, sir, but anyone with more than 3 names, we have to unfortunately unalive. What are these Guatemalans? Squatemalans? So Giovanni Diego Lopez Cobo, 20, made a derogatory comment about the wife of Joseph Manfredi, triggering a dispute and altercation. After Manfredi allegedly kicked Cobo, the Guatemalan pulled a gun and opened fire, investigators say. St. Johns County Sheriff's Office deputies responding to 911 calls found Manfredi dead at the scene. 2 other victims suffering from gunshot wounds were rushed to a local hospital. Cobo and his brother, 23-year-old Armando Manuel Lopez Cobo, again, too many names, sorry, you're going to have to be unalived, fled before deputies arrived but were later arrested. Giovanni was charged with second-degree murder with a firearm and 2 counts of attempted second-degree murder with a firearm. Armando was charged with accessory after the fact, second-degree murder with a firearm. ICE has lodged detainers against both brothers. Again, we don't need ICE. There's just no need for ICE. I don't care. Like, deportation is no plane tickets, no nothing. No thanks, bro. And also, there's a lesson here, though. Like, you cannot, should not, will not engage with these people without the foreknowledge that any escalation could lead to death, right? Your own. So you should absolutely, 1, not entangle with these people. That would be the most pragmatic advice I can give you. However, should you entangle with them, you should be the one who is able to exert force in the most judicial manner, in the most efficacious manner, right? To resolve the situation in your favor. If you catch my drift, you should be able to be the one walking away, not these people. Was the guy armed? Was he carrying? Was he competent? Who knows, right? But if you're going to engage with these types of people, you need to be the one who is going to come out the other side of that. All right. Now, here's another one. Similar vein, other side of the world. But breaking outrage in Scandinavia after a Swedish man was beaten to death by a gang of Africans while at a fan zone watching Norway versus Côte d'Ivoire, whatever that country is. Not a real place, by the way. So there's another young man, other side of the world. 2 beautiful children, wife, off-duty policeman, leaves behind a wife and 2 daughters. His life mattered. Now, they're not showing you here, and in the other one, the picture of the perpetrator. I wonder why. Let's read an article, shall we? Maybe we'll figure it out. So, Christian Zedwig, Swedish fan killed after assault at FIFA World Cup screening in Copenhagen. Christian Zedig, a 32-year-old Swedish police officer and father of a toddler from Eskjo, died after being assaulted while reportedly trying to break up a fight during a public football screening in Copenhagen. Died a police off-duty cop. He's at a football thing, your goy ball, your sports hole, whatever you want to call it. You're trying to break up a fight, and then they ended up curb stomping you to death. If you're going to engage with these types of people, you just you just shouldn't. Like, that's just a pragmatic response. You should absolutely not engage with these people. If they're literally killing each other, it's like, maybe, probably not though, right? According to information cited by Aftonbladet, Zedig had attended a public viewing at Islands Brygge this week to watch the Norway-Ivory Coast match on a giant screen. During the event, a fight broke out, and Zedig reportedly stepped in to intervene. In the ensuing chaos, he was knocked to the ground and suffered severe injuries. Again, just like curb stomped or stampeded on or just elbowed or punched to death. Because again, hands and fists kill a lot of people. Hands, fists, and feet kill a lot of people. Following the incident, Danish police launched a search for the suspected attacker and publicly urged him to surrender. The suspect turned himself in police on Friday morning and has since been arrested. He denies the allegations against him. Now, if you notice, they're saying, it's really sad that one of our police officers is gone. It's really terrible. My thoughts are with the family. Again, a beautiful, beautiful young family traded for absolutely nothing. And it turns out that, they're hiding the face of the guy because he's just exactly what you would expect. Like, whatever you were picturing in your mind, it's like, oh, that's what it was. Yep. You're right. Watch soccer accordingly, I guess. Or don't. Save your life. No, I'm not going to show this. That's just stupid. I'm not going to show that one either. Shoot. What am I going to show here at the end? I don't know, man. Maybe we'll just end it there because there is this little clip here that this has been sent around. Ben sent it to me earlier today, so I might as well show this one because it's at least kind of funny. Now, this says Mormon youth pastor who crashes out when the cops see his CP collection, which I assume you all know what that means. He has some interesting characteristics about him. Now, Mormons don't have youth pastors. They do have bishops or whatever they're called or whatnot, priests or something like that. I forget their ecclesiology. Okay. It's all made up nonsense as far as I'm concerned, but he had something to do with like the local Mormon church. He wasn't like an official like youth pastor or whatever, but whatever position is analogous to that in the church is what he was. Anyways, and you can see some of his bizarre reactions to being found out, which I think are appropriate given the fact that his life is over, or at least should be. This is also exactly what I think about when anybody like says anything about Reddit ever. I'm like, oh yeah, this guy right here, the fat, the neck beard, the freaking out, the CP obsession, voice, the what do you call it, VR chat type stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, Reddit pedophile, of course. The phenotype, checks out. Okay, but Task Force Data, that's too mean. Okay, that is not the average Mormon. I have met some wonderful Mormons. I think their religion is nonsense. Of course, it's all pre-lest as far as I'm concerned. But I've met a couple weird Mormons. So maybe I take that back. But no, not all Mormons are like this. Okay, most of them are blonde and dumb, and that's all they need to be. Okay.
Okay.
No!
All right, well, we got I'll get your
officer. I just want to brace yourself. So he did show us the on his phone. This is a video of what seems to be like a 8-year-old girl being raped. And he has multiple other videos on his phone as well. And he was talking to our 13 and 5-year-old decoy.
You said no cop. You just stop. You paid me.
You look out for the kids, too.
I understand, but they're doing nothing. Sorry, you wanted to. I've been for the job. I have been stressed out my whole life. I have schizophrenia, PTSD, anxiety.
Now, in the actual video that they put out, because there's a video that's been around for a little while, but he lists everything that he has as. We'll watch a little bit of this, but it just gets worse. I mean, this guy is like demon possessed. It seems like.
So sorry, I'm mentally unstable right now. I'm medicated.
Medicated on what?
I got bipolar, schizophrenic, ADHD, anxiety disorder, and I've been molested as a child.
Used to beat up with my daughter.
We have multiple convictions here in the state of Illinois.
You all right?
No, I'm mentally not stable right now.
So do the thoughts make you like to talk to little kids?
Not particularly. I usually talk to adults, but once in a while, yeah.
Okay?
No!
All right. We got
No, my phone, my phone. Ah! It's like the Wicked Witch of the West or something, like getting water poured on him for the first time. Well, water and accountability, actually. You know that's funny. Water, okay, in the story of the Wizard of Oz is accountability, okay, which is why anytime that it touches a woman, they die. So just remember that, okay? In the Wizard of Oz, water is accountability, and that's why it kills the witch.
I'll get your phone.
I don't care about his interest. Let's skip to one of the other crash out moments. It's got to be this one.
So even if you don't get arrested, you don't want to just talk to them about it and tell them you won't do it again?
I won't do it again, I swear. I promise.
Okay.
I promise you right there.
Okay. So you see?
Oh yeah.
I promise I won't do it again.
Little girl thing.
Okay, so you do have on your phone.
I didn't know.
Okay.
Was it your files?
I didn't know.
Do me a favor.
I will delete it.
Can you just put it in airplane mode for me? It's right there. Airplane mode.
I didn't know.
It's okay. So she's just gonna hold your phone and we're gonna get this deleted, okay? Is that okay?
My pocket if you want me to, so you see I'm not on it.
Is it okay if she gets this deleted? Can she get this? Whoa.
Anytime they talk, that's true. Gene Lemming says this is the LGBTQIA plus the movement is trying to promote and protect. Anytime they talk about plus, it's like, are you just hiding the M? Because I know the M is in there, and the M stands for MAPS, and MAPS are minor attracted person, and MAPS should be hung on a wall, stabbed through the corners, and just spread out on a wall, just staked there. That's where MAPS are really useful.
Hold on. Ooh, hold on. Hey, you're not in trouble. I'm not a cop. Here, you see, you're scaring kids, man. You're scaring kids. Hey, shake my hand. Here, do you have anything in your pocket? Here, give me
no. The Reddit handshake. No, go back. Sorry, I got to zoom in. I got to enhance. Have you guys gotten handshakes like this? I'm sure everybody has a weird handshake interaction, but just look at this. Oh, this is like the little girl handshake. Right, where they just like touch like this, like they're afraid to grab your hand. Yeah.
Here, do you have anything in your pocket? Here, give me a hug, man. Give me a hug.
Oh, why?
Look at me, Steven. Say I'm not a monster.
I'm not a monster.
Let's order cupcakes, but you lied to me earlier saying no.
They call the police cupcakes.
But that's okay.
I didn't know.
You didn't know.
I didn't know.
So what's the youngest age these monsters are sending to you?
I don't know. That's the only videos I've ever had.
Okay. But how old did the kids look in the videos?
You can't tell sometimes.
They're that young?
You can be.
Yeah, he talks about having like monsters in his head and voices in his head.
True, but that little girl.
Whatever stuff he's on.
Yeah.
Well, pizza's here. Stefan, you're officer. I just want to brace yourself. So he did show us a on his phone. This is a video of what seems to be like a 8-year-old girl being raped. And he has multiple other.
Dude, I know cops get a lot of crap and we talk crap about it, but like literally being the officer that has to see some of this stuff, like those type of guys I legitimately feel bad for, right? Because I'm like, oh, like at no point in my day am I never ever thinking about having to interact with like the worst of the worst monsters that humanity has to offer, right? Like the true, like most evil people in existence. At no point, like I'm glad I do not have to interact with those types of people. And somebody else gets to. So I do actually feel bad for them. Yeah, 100%. It's never going to leave you. You're never going to be able to forget it. It's going to be in the back of your mind. And think about it. Some of these guys are just like regular beat cops, right? It's like 9 o'clock, you're handing out a traffic citation to grandma for, driving too fast or not stopping at the stop sign. 10:30, you're dealing with a literal Satan himself child molester. And it's like, I don't know. I don't know if they're paying me enough for this job.
A few videos on his phone as well. The other officer, he's got mad at me. I was just trying to give you guys enough probable cause. And he was talking to our 13 and 5-year-old decoy.
You said no cops. We just stopped. You baited me.
Look out for the kids, Steve.
I understand.
You baited me when I specifically asked you not to.
I've been to the job. I get stressed out my whole life. I have schizophrenia, PTSD, anxiety.
Here, just hold that. I'll give him the whole
Dude, that kind of rhyme. PTSD, anxiety.
Steven, I think the way this is going to go is you're probably going to take a ride with me. We're going to go talk with some detectives for a little bit and figure out what's going on here. Does that sound good?
Yes, can I have my phone with me?
Yeah, we'll take our phone with you here. Do you have are you on any kind of medication?
Yes, I am.
What kind of medication you on?
Gabapentin, muscle relaxers, Adderall, Xanax.
You live by yourself?
Yes. Can you get mobile response out here before I talk to you guys?
You want mobile response?
Yes.
Yep.
What's mobile response? Is it because he's too fat, he doesn't want to walk? Like, what is this? 405 Defense says, my dad was a cop. It takes a toll on you. It's never good. You're only called when bad things happen. Yeah, I think there's some truth to that for sure. Average GameStop employee. Yeah. Honestly, it would have been funnier if he tried to run when the cops showed up, because then the cops would have had to tackle him, which would have been at least a little cathartic in terms of seeing him put into physical pain. All right. Well, I'm sure that this guy is having a wonderful time in prison. Hopefully he never makes it out the other side. All right, well, that was enough rage bait for one night. That was enough rage bait for 1 week. We're supposed to be like celebrating or something like that, right? Because it's the 4th of July tomorrow, or actually for you guys on the East Coast, happy 4th of July. I got about 52 minutes left. Bulge Deep, member for 16 months, says, based. Love you guys. Love you too, Bulge Deep. Everybody loves Bulge Deep. Everybody loves being Bulge Deep. I don't know. I can't configure. All right. Anyways, thank you to everybody who checked out the Kick Chat. Thank you very much. There's 10 people over there hanging out. That's nice. Everybody over on Rumble, let me make sure that I got everything cleared up. Ko-Fi, and I think we're good to get out of here. Dillweed for 10. Well, last minute. Thanks, Dillweed. Says, I saw this story in Russia where a guy found PDF stuff on his kids' on his friend's phone, and the police found him in a half-buried grave, beaten with a shovel, and the cops ruled it a suicide. I have heard that same story as well, and I've seen similar instances of that where a father or someone in the know takes out a predator that has taken advantage of someone in their life, and essentially it's like, oh wow, that was tragic. It's weird how he just died like that, though, right? It's crazy that he suicided by 2 rounds to the back of the head. Most of them don't get off the second round. This guy did somehow, right? Which is based. Very based. Thank you, Dillweed. I appreciate that. It's good to know that for some people out there is a happy ending. Richard comes in with another story time. We're trying to get out of here, but no, we're just going down the dark story rabbit hole. Story time. Richard was on jury duty once. A stepfather accused of abusing his 2 stepchildren. One with special needs. I had to see the evidence. I still see the evidence. Well, that is tragic, and I'm very sorry to hear that, because that's obviously very traumatic for you guys. Good on you for convicting him. However, the one thing that I have told people this often is children get abused the most in instances where there is no biological father. Whether it's a stepdad, whether it's a boyfriend that's coming around that is using the single mom to take advantage of the kids, right? So they date the single mom to get access to the children. They, in this case, the stepfather, so actually married the thing. Yeah. There is a lot of, you put your children in an insane amount of danger by allowing them to be around strange men. Shocker, I know, but if you as a father abandon your children, you are setting them up for the darkest of all possible outcomes. So the point being, don't be a bad dad. Be there for your kids. And sometimes, you know, regardless of whatever the woman does, right? Because women in this system can absolutely destroy you, ruin you, take the kids from you without anything that you can do about it. But still up to you to do the best that you can, okay? Don't give up. Giving up is the only way that you actually lose. Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that was not an uplifting end to the stream at all in any way, shape, or form, but I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all have a great weekend tomorrow. Remember to go have fun, celebrate with your friends, with your family, check up on the homies, because, you know, everybody has a hard time sometimes. So it's important that we go out there, take the first step, take care of your fellow man, your brothers, your sisters, your aunts, your uncles, your mothers and fathers. Call your mom, tell them that you love them. Why not? You know, it's not like they're going to be around forever. It's not like you're going to be around forever. So you might as well strike while the moment is now. So with all that out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. I will see you in the next one. God bless. Godspeed. Christ is King.
Auf der Heide blüht ein kleines Blümchen.